I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. I got love, peace, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA.
Episode 14, The House with the Wisteria Family Crest. The episode started with another recap, ending with Tanjiro running at Inosuke screaming. The screen with the ink, leaving a purple pattern. On top of it was the title. Wisteria Family Crest. What's that? Tanjiro asked. They're a family who allows demon slayers to recover in their homes, Yubayashiki said. Get away, Tanjiro screamed. Inosuke looked at Tanjiro, who was closing in on him. Inosuke raised his swords, but Tanjiro still kept running. He screamed as he landed a blow. It was shown from a few angles. It gave an X-ray for a moment, showing that Tanjiro broke Inosuke's ribs. Ah, you broke some of his ribs, Zenitsu screamed. You got lucky with that. I won't let it happen again, Inosuke laughed. Impressive, I suppose. He still needs more training to become my training partner, Akaza thought. Inosuke groaned as he flew back from the punch. Both of Inosuke's swords left his hands. Zenitsu was still holding the box that Nezuko was in. Now that I think about it, your swords are quite interesting. Inosuke, I don't think I've seen anyone else with swords like those, Urokodaki said. I made them after I stole a demon slayer's swords, Inosuke laughed. He stole a demon slayer's sword, several people thought. I heard it, you broke his ribs, Zenitsu exclaimed. I can't believe you actually broke his bones, Tanjiro-kun. Don't you know that fighting isn't allowed unless it's training, Kacho said. I'm sorry, Kacho-san, Tanjiro said. Aren't you part of the Demon Slayer Corp? You must understand why Zenitsu refuses to draw his sword, because it's taboo for us to fight each other without provocation. But here you are giving him a completely one-sided beating. Is that fun for you? Tanjiro lectured Inosuke. You are the lowest of low. I suppose we'll just have to fight barehanded then, Inosuke said. What? No, did you not listen to a word future me said? Tanjiro asked. This is why I hate kids, Muzan thought. Inosuke coughed before laughing. So that's how you feel? I didn't realize. In that case, let's fight barehanded. No, did you even hear a word I said? Tanjiro asked. Listen. Inosuke stood up and charged at Tanjiro. Tanjiro began backing up slowly. We're not supposed to be fighting each other in any way. This kid is such a buzzkill, Enmu thought. Thank you for trying to not continue the fight, Tanjiro, Yubayashiki said. Inosuke went to Tanjiro trying to kick him in the face. Tanjiro moved out of the way, dodging every punch Inosuke gave. This is so terrible, you should stop fighting, Hajime said. I agree, fighting isn't allowed, Rengoku said. Using your fists doesn't change things, Tanjiro shouted. Are you listening to me? Inosuke wrapped himself around Tanjiro, spinning repeatedly. Tanjiro got him off, dodging the kick Inosuke gave next. Shoichi sat next to Zenitsu and the box. I'm surprised he can still move. Tanjiro broke his ribs, that can't be good for him, Aoi said. I'm just that amazing, Inosuke yelled. What a show-off, Zenitsu thought. Man, look at that guy. How is he able to move like that? And with some of his ribs broken no less, Zenitsu thought. Inosuke charged at Tanjiro again. Aiming for his feet, he kicked them, making Tanjiro falter. Tanjiro tried to kick Inosuke, but failed. Inosuke got close to Tanjiro's face and snarled. Tanjiro gasped, only to be hit in the face. Although they shouldn't be fighting, this fight is quite interesting, Genya thought. I have no interest in watching two children fighting. I wish I could use my demon art, Neikime thought. If we're being fair here, Tanjiro's guilty of going against the rules as well. He broke his bones, Zenitsu said. Because both of you broke the rules, you should both be punished, Hajime said. Punished? Tanjiro thought. Shoichi was wiping the blood off of Zenitsu's face while the fight continued. Inosuke got onto Tanjiro's back again, making Tanjiro fall. Tanjiro fought back after he stood up, hitting Inosuke, making him falter too. Inosuke went to the ground, trying to sweep Tanjiro's feet. Don't think that just because you hit me means that you're going to win, Inosuke yelled. Inosuke, we really shouldn't be fighting. It's not okay, Tanjiro sighed. Tanjiro moved out of the way in time. Inosuke ran towards Tanjiro, trying to headbutt his stomach. Tanjiro blocked him though. Inosuke began delivering several punches. Tanjiro tried to kick his face, but Inosuke went back to trying to punch him. You're quite fast, Inosuke, although I wish you were fighting a demon and not a fellow demon slayer, Yubayashiki said. The attacks he's using, they're unusually low, Tanjiro thought, as he diverted a punch. The way we're fighting, it's almost like I'm battling a fearsome four-legged beast. Inosuke appeared like a boar to Tanjiro for a moment. Inosuke then tried to kick Tanjiro's head once more. A boar? I can definitely see that in him, Hinetsuru said, and not just because of the boar head. Inosuke laughed. Are you scared of me, Manjiro? You are experiencing my true power. What is with this guy? He's so weird, Zenitsu thought. Get down. Go for a low blow of your own. He won't be able to dodge this, Tanjiro thought. Don't get too cocky. I can easily dodge any attack you send my way, Inosuke said. How is the boar head planning on dodging that attack? Urokodaki wondered. He spun on his hand and attempted to kick Inosuke. Unfortunately, Inosuke did the splits and avoided the attack. Inosuke moved his body to have his leg forcing Tanjiro's head down. How flashy! You might be more flexible than Kenroji, Yusui said. Don't compare Kenroji with that uncivilized boar head, Iguro threatened. Kaya, I can't believe that you can do the splits that easily, Inosuke, Kenroji squealed. He can do the splits that easily, doesn't that hurt? And what is he doing to Tanjiro? Zenitsu thought. How is he this flexible? It doesn't even seem human, Tanjiro thought. All of you, be amazed at my amazing flexibility, Inosuke bragged. He's not that cool, Zenitsu thought. Inosuke did a few flips, landing away from Tanjiro laughing. What did you think of that move? Pretty damn amazing, don't you think? The three siblings hugged behind Zenitsu, who was thinking, singing his own praise like that? Give me a break. Let me demonstrate what else I'm capable of, Inosuke said. What do you mean, Inosuke? Tanjiro asked. I can manipulate my internal organs, and I am so flexible I can fit in any space my head can, Inosuke bragged. That doesn't sound healthy. I hope he's cautious with his actions, Aoi thought. How the hell can you move your organs? Shinozugawa asked. He began manipulating his body so his head was looking forward in between his legs. He laughed at the others. Oh my, that's quite the pose, Kacho said. I'd say that's quite flamboyant. Not many people can do that without severely hurting themselves, Yusui said. He looks so weird, not cute at all, Daki thought. Stop it, what are you doing? Performing a stunt like that in your condition won't be good for you, Tanjiro said. Why should I care? I'm going to be totally fine, Inosuke said. You might think that, but you don't know that for sure, Inosuke, Tanjiro said. Inosuke got out of that position. So, what do I care? He charged at Tanjiro again, preparing to punch him. Nothing can take away from this moment, and the pleasure I feel, Inosuke said, throwing hands at Tanjiro. Now this is interesting. Maybe he'd also become a demon so we could fight, Akaza thought. You have to think about the future as well, Tanjiro responded, dodging Inosuke's blows. Why should I? Inosuke asked. Tanjiro grabbed Inosuke's shoulders firmly. Why are you grabbing his shoulders? Suma asked. I think I'm going to headbutt him, Tanjiro said calmly. Now calm down, do you hear? Tanjiro said, headbutting Inosuke. Wow, you really headbutted him, Zenitsu said. Ah, that sound. Did both of your skulls get fractured? Zenitsu yelled. Wait, did you say fractured? How hard is your head, Tanjiro-kun? Kenroji said. Fracturing someone's skull with a headbutt is pretty flashy, Yusui said. Although it's cool, I do wish you weren't doing it to another demon slayer, Yubayashiki said. Now that's kinda badass, Akaza thought. Inosuke stumbled back a bit. He groaned in pain, but he couldn't form any words. Just then, his boar head fell off. Tanjiro gasped at the sight of Inosuke's face. Finally, we get to see what the boar-headed kid looks like, Yushiro said. We already saw it when you were having your meeting earlier, Sanjuro said. Huh? Are you kidding me? That's what you look like, Zenitsu screamed. What? Is he really ugly or something? Nakaim asked. Quite the opposite, actually, Tanjiro muttered. Inosuke moved his hand away and spoke. What the hell, you saying? You got a problem with my face or something? Inosuke had dark blue hair that faded into a lighter blue. His green eyes were large and round. Blood dripped down his forehead from when Tanjiro headbutted him. The room was silent as they took in Inosuke's pretty face. Several people's jaws were inches away from the floor. "What the hell? Your face is feminine," Shinazugawa yelled. Inosuke turned around quickly. "You got a problem with my face." "I think your face is nice," Kenroji said. "Those facial features, they seem familiar. I wonder why," Dalma thought. "What? That's not fair. Why was such an uncivilized boy given such a feminine face?" Daki wondered. "I don't know what to make of you right now. You've got this ripped body, but such a delicate face to go with it," Zenitsu said. "What? Why are you obsessed with my face all of a sudden?" Inosuke asked. "No, I'm not. It was just an observation," Zenitsu said, running behind Teruko. "Please tell me that you aren't hiding behind the kids again," Yubayashiki sighed. "I didn't want him to pummel me again. I promise that's the only reason I hid in the future," Zenitsu tried to reason. Shoichi and Kiyoshi stared at Zenitsu. Disappointment and confusion fell on their faces. What's with their faces? Why is everyone looking at me with disappointment?" Zenitsu yelled. "This kid is an idiot," Daki thought. "There's nothing wrong with your face. In fact, the girlish shape, size, and complexion are quite attractive," Tanjiro admitted, bluntly. "Tanjiro, you're being very blunt," Aoi said. "Sorry if I offended you in the future, Inosuke," Tanjiro apologized. "Whatever, I'm still gonna kick your ass in the future," Inosuke responded. "You're a dead man. You wanna go?" Inosuke shouted. "I don't. I won't fight you anymore," Tanjiro said. As Inosuke shouted, it showed the others. "Come on, headbutt me." "Do you have a death wish?" Aoi asked. "You've already sustained several injuries. You don't need another one." "I'll be fine," Inosuke sighed. "No, I'm done." "I said do it." "Why won't he fight me again?" Inosuke wondered. "You're too worked up. Why don't you sit down?" It went back to Inosuke as he talked again. "I've got a better idea. How about I tell you my name? It's Inosuke Hashibira. Don't you forget it." Inosuke Hashibira. That sounds even more familiar. How interesting, Dalma thought. "How is that spelled exactly?" Tanjiro shouted back. I don't know how to read and write, okay? All I know is that name was written on my." "You don't know how to read or write," Zenitsu repeated. "I could teach you if you'd like," Tameo said. Before he could finish speaking, he gasped. His whole body began to shake too. What's happening to him?" Iguro asked. "I guess the injuries have finally caught up to him," Kacho said. What's wrong?" Zenitsu asked, still behind Teruko. "Guess he froze," Shoichi said. "What's the matter?" Tanjiro asked. Inosuke began stammering. His eyes rolled to the back of his head before he fell to the ground. He began foaming at the mouth, his eyes completely white. "Oh my goodness, he's foaming at the mouth. That can't be good," Kenroji yelled. "I hope he's going to be all right," Tanjiro said. "Oh no, he collapsed. Is he dead?" Zenitsu asked. "Shouldn't you know? You have really good hearing, don't you?" Hinetsuru asked. "Well, yeah, but it's a really high-stress situation, okay?" Zenitsu yelled. "No, he's not. I think it's a concussion. I did headbutt him really hard though," Tanjiro said. "But are you all right, Tanjiro?" Teruko asked. "Yeah." "Amazing. Can I touch your head?" she asked. "Here," Tanjiro said as he lowered his head. "There's not a drop of blood from your head, Tanjiro." "That's so cool," Senjuro said. "Thank you, but it really isn't anything too special," Tanjiro said. "That's insane. There's not a single drop of blood from Tanjiro's head. How hard could it possibly be?" Zenitsu wondered. It panned over to Inosuke, who was still unconscious. "I mean, look at what it did to him. I can't believe that Manjiro really incapacitated me like that," Inosuke thought. "Whatever, it's just a stupid headbutt. It's not like it could do that much," Shinazugawa scoffed, not realizing the irony in his sentence. "Tanjiro, your head is so hard," Teruko exclaimed. "You think so?" he asked. After a little bit later, Inosuke was seen laying on the ground peacefully. Tanjiro's Haori was being used as a pillow, while Zenitsu's was a blanket. Both of his swords were laid next to him. He opened his eyes, and after a few seconds of silence he screamed. He jumped up from under the makeshift blanket. "Ah man, you looked so peaceful when you were sleeping. Why'd you have to go and ruin it?" Zenitsu asked. Shut up, Zenitsu, Inosuke said. He even wakes up aggressively. How scary, Suma thought. Ah, he's awake, Zenitsu screamed. Fight me now, Inosuke screamed. Inosuke, you really need to stop being so violent, Zenitsu said. Don't tell me what to do, especially since you've been cowering most of the time I've seen you, Inosuke shouted. Don't say that. I've had my moments of being cool, Zenitsu shouted back. He began chasing Zenitsu around. Get back here, you. I can't believe this is how he acts right when he wakes up, Zenitsu shouted, running behind Teruko. You really need to stop hiding behind people that are weaker than you, Aoi said. Inosuke stopped running and looked at what was going on. Tanjiro was carrying a rock to place on the grave they were making. Everyone stared at Inosuke with dots for eyes. Why are everyone's eyes dots? Kanata asked. Probably just another stylized choice the twins made, Amane suggested. I'm glad that you're making a burial for all of the poor souls that died in the mansion, Hajime said. Of course, it's the least I can do, Tanjiro smiled softly. What are you up to? Tell me, Inosuke shouted. Tanjiro set down the rock and responded, We're having a burial. Burial, Inosuke repeated. Yes, and you should help out too. The fact of the matter is, lives were lost in there, Tanjiro said, pointing to the mansion. What's the point in putting things that have died into the ground like that? Inosuke asked. I'm not doing it. Not on your life. Forget that crap. Let's finish our fight. Do you really not know the purpose of a burial? Iguro asked. No, what about it? Inosuke asked. A burial is to pay respects for those who have passed, Tanjiro said. This guy's cold. Did he really just ask what the point in burying people was? Zenitsu thought. I understand, Tanjiro said. You can't do it because you're in too much pain. What? Are you underestimating me? Inosuke yelled. What? Of course not. I just don't want your injuries to get worse, Tanjiro said. Blue and yellow spiked circles surrounded Inosuke. A sign of anger was shown as his abilities were questioned. I thought it was just the boar guy, but they're both crazy, Zenitsu thought, still behind Teruko. What are you talking about, Zenitsu? Tanjiro asked. You're using reverse psychology on Inosuke, and you don't even realize it. Do you know how weird that is? Zenitsu yelled. Who do you think you are calling me weird, Zenitsu? Inosuke yelled. Hey, it's all right. Everyone handles their pain threshold differently, you know. Moving those who died outside the mansion, and then digging graves for their bodies is extremely hand work, as Tanjiro talked. His voice was drowned out but Inosuke's grunting. Zenitsu, these kids and I will do our best, so don't you worry. Is this kid really accidentally using reverse psychology? How is he even doing that? Kokushibo wondered. He's really underestimating me. Stupid Tanjiro, Inosuke thought. He's so odd, Kiyoshi thought. Strange guy, Shoichi thought. Why are they calling me odd? Tanjiro asked. Because you are crazy, Zenitsu said. You should get some rest, Inosuke, Tanjiro smiled. Inosuke began to snarl. Blood vessels became visible on his angry face. Sorry to ask too much of you, Tanjiro said. Inosuke shouted. Don't underestimate me, damn it. I can bury 100, no 200 bodies. I'm gonna do way more work than any of you. Just watch. Why is he acting like that? I'm just trying to be nice, Tanjiro thought. I suppose that's one way to get someone to do something, Aoi thought. Inosuke began jumping in the air as he spoke. Then a little panel showed Inosuke in 3 different emotions, all in black and white. Time skipped to dusk. Everyone but Inosuke was praying over each grave. Meanwhile, Inosuke was running into trees, while screaming. Why are you hitting your head against those trees? Hajime asked. Probably so I can handle a headbutt from Tanjiro when we fight again, Inosuke said. I'm not going to fight you again, Inosuke. Also, my name isn't Tanjiro, it's Tanjiro. Kids are so weird. If Kenroji and I live to get married, I don't want any kids, Iguro thought. What's that strange man doing? Teruko asked. Just look the other way, Kiyoshi whispered. I've taught these kids well, Zenitsu thought. Shoichi nodded. Inosuke was banging his head against the tree repeatedly. Everyone's praying was interrupted by a crow cawing. Tanjiro and Zenitsu looked up. Shoichi looked surprised and confused. Inosuke's probably going to be in a lot of pain when it catches up to him. Poor soul, Hajime thought. Descend the mountain, the crow cawed. Is that crow talking to us? Shoichi asked. This is all a bit too much, Kiyoshi said. Those poor kids, they've been through so much. I hope that the rest of their life is normal, Kenroji said. It's all because of demons that they're traumatized. This is why we must kill as many as we can, Rengoku said. Whatever, Jayako thought. Yeah, Teruko agreed. All right, everyone, it's time to follow yours truly, the crow said. Inosuke hit his head against the tree once more, looking at the others who were descending the mountain. Hey, where are you going? Inosuke yelled. Are you serious? Tanjiro's crow just said they're going to descend the mountain, Zenitsu asked. Zenitsu, be nice, Tanjiro said. Ah, we're descending the mountain, Tanjiro said. But we're not done with our battle yet, Inosuke yelled. This kid really wants to keep fighting. He's denser than Tomioka, Iguro thought. I can't believe you still have energy after all those injuries, Kenroji said. You're tired, aren't you? Come on, we're heading down, Tanjiro said. What? I'm not tired at all, Inosuke said to Tanjiro. Let's fight. You're insane, Zenitsu muttered. The crow cawed above them, leading them down the mountain. The birds chirped, and Zenitsu's voice was heard. No, you can't. I won't allow it. Don't go. Shoichi, please, you've got to stay with us. I've seen how powerful you are. I need you to be around to protect me from danger, Zenitsu yelled. Several people glared at Zenitsu for his actions. Zenitsu tried to laugh it off. Don't blame me. It's my future self, okay? I now know that it wasn't Shoichi, so I won't try to keep him with me, Zenitsu said. Very well, everyone, stop glaring at Zenitsu. His future self didn't know that he was the one who killed the demon. Cut him some slack, Yubayashiki said, chuckling softly. The Hashiras responded respectfully, even if they didn't want to. The demons rolled their eyes at the scene. Shoichi's siblings were pulling on his clothes, trying to free him from Zenitsu. In the background, Inosuke was ramming against trees. Stop it. He's obviously not interested, Tanjiro said, pulling on Zenitsu's Haori. Don't leave me behind, Shoichi. I'm begging you, Zenitsu pleaded. You stop that, this instant, Tanjiro yelled, hitting Zenitsu's neck. Ah, how brutal. How could you do that to me, Tanjiro? Zenitsu yelled. I'm sorry, but you weren't letting Shoichi-kun go home, Tanjiro said. Thank you for letting Shoichi-kun go home, Kacho smiled. Zenitsu fell to the ground. He was passed out. The crow cawed at Kiyoshi. Caw, hold out your hands. It threw up something into Kiyoshi's hands. Kiyoshi screamed at the gesture. In his hands was bird vomit and a little pink bag with a flowery symbol. That's so gross, Zenitsu said. What even is that? It looks like a bag of Wisteria, Amane said. That will ward off demons. As the one with Marichai, be sure to keep that on your person, the crow said. It smells like Wisteria, Tanjiro said. What's that? Kiyoshi asked. A flower demons can't stand. Make sure not to lose it, Tanjiro said, informing the boy. I'm glad Kiyoshi got a bag of it. However, did my crow have that with him the whole time? Tanjiro asked. It's a demon repellent. It will keep them at bay, the crow said. Meanwhile, Inosuke was still headbutting trees. Tanjiro, thank you for everything, Kiyoshi smiled. We can all get home on our own now. I pray that they will get home safely and not run into any more demons, Hajime said. Are you not going to walk them home, just in case? The sun is setting, Yushiro asked. Probably not. They have the Wisteria, so they'll be safe, Tanjiro said. Tanjiro waved. Safe travels. He was still holding Zenitsu, while Inosuke ran to the trees again. Now then, everyone follow me. Follow yours truly, it cawed. The three drawings on Zenitsu passed by. The crow continued leading them to where they were going. The sky was a lovely reddish orange. Huh? Why are there little drawings of me? I don't look that stupid, do I, Tanjiro? Zenitsu asked. No, Tanjiro said. Hey, my close friend drew those, and we added them to spice it up, Shiro yelled through the intercom. Come on and fight me. I swear I'm gonna find a weak point and bring you down, Inosuke shouted. I have a name you know. It's Tanjiro Kamado. All right, Gampakairo Kamaboko. I'm gonna bring you down, Inosuke said. while doing unnecessary arm movements. What? That's not even close to my name, Tanjiro sighed. How did you get Gonpakairo Kamaboko from Tanjiro Kamado? Zenitsu asked. Who are you talking about? Tanjiro asked. You, of course, Inosuke shouted. No, you're not, Tanjiro refuted. I'm glad they're getting a moment of rest. They deserve it, Tomioka thought. Just then Zenitsu woke up and screamed at them. Excuse me, could you keep it down please? Ah, why is my head that big? Zenitsu yelled. Probably because you're an airhead, Aoi muttered. Hey, Zenitsu yelled. Following the other two, Tanjiro's drawings passed the screen. It turned to night. The full moon was out. It then transitioned to a doorway that said Wisteria. Finally, we get some rest. As much as I enjoy saving people from demons, it probably isn't the best thing to be doing with broken bones, Tanjiro chuckled. I commend you for your tenacity. Even with broken bones, you kept fighting, Yubayashiki said. A Wisteria family crest, Tanjiro said. The crow cawed loudly. It's time to rest. It's time to rest. You've all had a tough day. Rest up now. Huh? Are you sure that's okay? Now that you mention it, I have been fighting with injuries this whole time, Tanjiro said. Don't ask if taking a break is okay. What if the crow changes its mind? Zenitsu yelled. I doubt that would happen. Right, Tanjiro said, not confident in his words. Your crow wouldn't change its mind. It gives orders as Okeata-sama gives them, Shinazugawa huffed. Ki, the crow managed to get out. Is that a laugh? Or, Tanjiro asked. Let's eat this thing, Inosuke suggested. What? Don't try to eat my crow, Inosuke, Tanjiro yelled. Is that why we haven't seen your crow? Did you eat it, Inosuke? Sanjuro asked. To give you all some peace of mind, Inosuke doesn't eat his crow, Shiro informed the others. Phew, several voices said. What? Tanjiro's crow said, freezing in fear. Then the door opened. A little old lady was behind it. Yes, she said. Oh, sorry to bother you this late at night, Tanjiro said. A ghost, it's a ghost, Zenitsu said. Why are you accusing the old lady of being a ghost, Zenitsu? That's so rude, Tanjiro said. Well, what else would be able to open the door that fast? Zenitsu asked. I'm sure that your crows told her that you were going there, Iguro sighed. Tanjiro turned to Zenitsu. Quiet. Who the hell are you? Inosuke asked, walking up to the woman. Should I presume that you are all demon slayers? She asked, bowing down slightly. I wonder if Master Musen is going to send some demons to that place. I'm sure it would hurt the demon slayers. Enmu wondered. Inosuke poked her hair. We are. What's it to ya? Hey, you should watch your manners. She's giving you all a place to stay and recover for free, Yushiro yelled. Why should I care? Inosuke asked. He's impossible. How does Tanjiro deal with him? Yushiro wondered. Inosuke, Tanjiro yelled. Please come in, the woman said. They all followed her beyond the doors. Inosuke looked around at his surroundings. A lovely garden was in their path. Eek, Iguro-san, look at the beautiful garden. We should visit some gardens later, Kenroji squealed. Why, yeah, that sounds nice, Kenroji-san, Iguro said. You, love. They should get a room, Nakaim thought. That little old lady sure walks fast, Zenitsu commented. This is where you'll be staying, she said. She guided them into the house. When they opened the door, she sat next to 3 pairs of clothes. A change of clothes to cleanse your body. How thoughtful of her, Amain said. Another door was opened behind this one. The woman sat next to food for all 3 of them. And a warm meal to cleanse your soul. I agree. Nothing like a warm meal to cleanse your soul. All that food looks amazing, Rengoku said. That food looks delicious, doesn't it, Zenitsu? Inosuke, Tanjiro asked, turning to the others. I suppose, but how did she prepare it so quickly for it to still be hot when we got here? Zenitsu mumbled. She has to be a monster, preparing all this so quickly. There's no way she's human. She can't be. She's a monster gra, Zenitsu screamed. Tanjiro yelled, Zenitsu, stop accusing her of being a monster. That's so rude. Tanjiro smacked Zenitsu for his rude behavior. It then zoomed into the delicious-looking food. The sound of chomping could be heard as Inosuke stuffed his mouth with food. You should use your chopsticks, Inosuke, Kacho said. It's unflashy to have bad manners. You should do as Kacho-san says, Yuzui agreed. Use your chopsticks, Zenitsu sighed. Inosuke stole some of Tanjiro's food to see if he could get him to react. He smiled, food covered his face. He chuckled as he stole another piece of Tanjiro's meal. However, he was met with kindness. Is he trying to make Tanjiro angry? Good luck with that, Zenitsu thought. What? Why isn't he getting angry? Inosuke wondered. You shouldn't take other people's food. I'm sure the old lady would make more food if you asked, Kiriya said. Tanjiro held out a bowl of food. If you're really that hungry, Inosuke, have this bowl too. Huh, Inosuke said, veins appearing again. He put his hands behind his head and shouted. Are you angry that Tanjiro isn't getting mad at you? Tomioka asked. Take it, Tanjiro smiled. I refuse. Why won't he accept my food? I thought he was still hungry. Tanjiro thought. Is this moron for real? He's forgotten all about the box. It was so important to him earlier. Give me a break, Zenitsu thought. I guess we're back to the boring, mushy stuff. What a drag, Akaza thought. Did that idiot really forget about the box that Nezuko is in? Zenitsu wondered. The three little Inosuke heads went across the screen again. Another door was opened, and the woman was sitting on the ground. This time 3 beds were next to her. All of them had the same floral pattern. Those blankets are so pretty, Kenroji said. I'll get you some of those blankets later, if you'd like, Iguro said. You so kind, Iguro-san. How did she get there that fast? Zenitsu whispered. Your bedding is ready, gentlemen, she said. She's very kind, Tanjiro smiled. Again, the monst. Inosuke jumped onto one of the beds, while Tanjiro hit Zenitsu again. Inosuke posed on the bed. Ah, Tanjiro, you're so cruel. How could you hit me like that? Zenitsu yelled. If you don't want me to hit you, then don't call her a monster, Tanjiro argued. Sorry, Tanjiro, Zenitsu said, sheepishly. I'm taking this one here, Inosuke said, hitting the bed. First come, first served. That's fine. You can sleep wherever you want, Tanjiro smiled. He turned to Zenitsu. Which one do you want, Zenitsu? Not even that will make him angry. This doesn't make any sense, Inosuke thought. You're so calm. Why did you let him pick his bed? Takedo asked. Well, I see no point in fighting over something so trivial, Tanjiro smiled. Inosuke got angry that Tanjiro didn't react negatively, so he threw a pillow at Zenitsu before he could respond. 3 little Zenitsu heads went across the screen once more. What? Why me? Zenitsu sighed, sadly. Why me? Zenitsu asked. Then a man entered the room. The woman was beside him. Our doctor is ready to see you, she smiled. Good, I'm glad you are all finally getting checked by a doctor, Kacho said. Me too, I know that Inosuke and I have broken ribs, so it's good we can get healed, Tanjiro said. Greetings, he said. He went to each of the slayers, who had their shirts open. He muttered some things as he moved to each of them. Well, yes, it's bad, he said. Well, that was blunt, Aoi said. A few minutes later, the room was lit by a single light. All 3 of them laid under the covers. Who would have guessed? All 3 of us have broken ribs, Zenitsu said. Wait, I have broken ribs too, Zenitsu exclaimed. It isn't too surprising. You did get tossed around in the mansion, Genya said. A little box was above their heads, showing how many ribs were broken. Inosuke moved his bangs, revealing a huge bump on his head. Holy shit, that's a huge bump. What the hell? Shinazugawa said. Language Shinazugawa, Haimjima said. That's one crazy forehead, Rui thought. This bump, though, hurts a lot more, Inosuke said. Sorry, Tanjiro said. Excuse me, where's my apology? I'm hurting too. You beat the crap out of me earlier. You sorry? Zenitsu asked. You are going to apologize, right? Zenitsu pressed. No, Inosuke responded. Not really, Inosuke said, bluntly. Zenitsu sat up a bit, yelling, just apologize. Zenitsu grumbled, shithead. Forget it, Inosuke replied. Hey, be nice, Tanjiro said. I agree with my future self. You both need to be nice to each other, Tanjiro sighed. Look, Inosuke, we just won't eat with you if you act that way, Zenitsu said. Huh? How's that related? Inosuke asked, as he turned to face the others. Don't you know? Food tastes better when you're eating it with people you care about, Rengoku smiled. That doesn't make sense. How does someone else's presence change the taste of food? Inosuke thought. Because meals always taste better when you eat together, you know, Zenitsu said. Yeah, he's right, Tanjiro agreed. Did the two of you hit your heads or something? Inosuke asked. I know you aren't talking about us hitting our heads, Inosuke, Zenitsu said. Like you're one to talk about that, Zenitsu yelled. The woman walked behind their rooms. Do you need any assistance in there? Ah, monster, Zenitsu yelled. Tanjiro hit Zenitsu and spoke. What did I say about calling her a monster? I'm sorry, Zenitsu whined. Ah, monster, Zenitsu screamed. Stop that, Tanjiro said. The little Tanjiro heads passed the screen like the others did. The Wisteria symbol appeared as Tanjiro talked. I don't look like those little heads, do I? Tanjiro wondered. According to what the crow told me, this house with the Wisteria family crest belongs to a family that was once rescued by demon slayers. That's the reason they're housing us there free of charge here. Still, I didn't think they'd show us this much kindness, Tanjiro said. Those people are kind. I'm glad that they're housing us for free, Tanjiro said. They're all so generous. I've stayed in their house a few times and the food was amazing, Kenroji said. Pays to be with the Demon Slayer Corps, huh, Inosuke said. Now that I think about it, what made you decide to join the group? Tanjiro asked. That's a good question. I'm curious too, Yorokodaki said. Huh, Inosuke said. Well, you must have some kind of reason, Zenitsu said. Inosuke's memories were shown as he spoke. A member of the Demon Slayer Corps barged in on me on my mountain, so we competed to see who was stronger. I took his blade as a reward. That's concerning, Hinatsuru thought. Did you find out what rank the Slayer was? Makio asked. The rank doesn't matter. That Slayer is pathetic. If his swords were taken by an inexperienced child, then they shouldn't be a Slayer, Takedo said. Muakairo-kun, that's mean, Kenroji said. Both of them stared at Inosuke, fear on their faces. I feel sorry for that guy, Zenitsu thought. And then I heard of this thing called final selection, and the fact that demons really do exist, Inosuke continued. You grew up on a mountain too. That's really cool, Inosuke, Tanjiro smiled. We're not the same. I don't have any family, Inosuke said. So that's what drew you to the Demon Slayer Corps. And hey, you grew up in the mountains. Same goes for me, Tanjiro said. Don't lump me in with you. I don't have anyone I can call family. Only one thing gives me comfort in this world, and that's testing my strength against others, Inosuke said, putting his boar head back on halfway through talking. He would be a perfect person to turn into a demon, Akaza thought. He looks so familiar, and his name is even more familiar. It's on the tip of my tongue, Dalma thought. Is that so? Tanjiro yawned. How sad. They sat in silence for a few seconds before Zenitsu sat up. Are you finally going to ask him about the demon he's been carrying? Kokushibo asked. I think so, Zenitsu said softly. Hey Tanjiro, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. You're traveling with a demon. What is that about? Tanjiro gasped before sitting up. Zenitsu, you knew and you still protected the box. You really are a good person, you know that. Thank you. I know I thanked you before, but I really do mean it. You're a really good person, Zenitsu, Tanjiro smiled. You're too kind, Zenitsu said. Blush went across Zenitsu's cheeks. He rolled around on his bed happily. You don't have to compliment me like that, he giggled. That's so embarrassing, Zenitsu thought. Tanjiro turned to Zenitsu and asked, Do people not compliment you often, Zenitsu? No, I can't think of the last time someone's given me a genuine compliment before coming here, Zenitsu admitted. I've got a keen sense of smell. That's how I knew from the start. You're a kind person, Zenitsu. Strong too, Tanjiro said, pointing to his nose. Hey, I'm not that strong. Give me a break. That's why I wanted to bring Shoichi along with us. But you ruined it. I couldn't let you take a child with us. I'm not going to apologize for that, Tanjiro said. I know. Sorry, Zenitsu said. That's well, Tanjiro said, unable to think of a reason. Just then Nezuko began to rustle in the box. Zenitsu screamed, standing up quickly. She's trying to escape her box, Zenitsu yelled. Zenitsu, you've seen that Nezuko doesn't hurt humans. Why are you yelling? Tanjiro said. What's happening? Is it coming after us now? Zenitsu yelled. You don't have to worry, Tanjiro said. How can you be so sure? How? How? Zenitsu said, freaking out. I can imagine how scary that would be for Zenitsu. In this video, if that's what it's called, he doesn't know about Nezuko, Rengoku said. I still don't trust that demon brat, Shinazugawa muttered. Quiet down, it's the middle of the night, Zenitsu, Tanjiro whisper yelled. Why won't he take the bait? I took his food and everything. Come to think of it, why exactly was it that got him so mad before? I forget. Inosuke thought. Wait, were you trying to make me angry, Inosuke? Tanjiro asked. He just realized that. Zenitsu thought loudly. The box began to open, and Zenitsu screamed yet again. It's not even locked. You're kidding me, Zenitsu screamed. Of course it's not locked. Nezuko isn't an animal, Tanjiro said. Tanjiro shushed Zenitsu, but to no avail. PP, protect me. Someone please protect me, Zenitsu screamed as he ran away. Even you'll do, Inosuke. Stay away from me. I have no reason to protect you, Inosuke said. He's back to being a coward. What a shame, Dalma thought. Stay away from me, Inosuke shouted. He kicked Zenitsu off of him, making him land right next to the box. It opened more, making Zenitsu squeal. Nezuko began to leave the box. Eek, does this mean we get to see more of baby Nezuko? Kenroji said. It's escaped, Zenitsu screamed as he ran to the other side of the room. Tanjiro glared at Zenitsu. Nezuko isn't in it. I'm sorry, Tanjiro, Zenitsu cried. He opened a closet, screaming that he needed to hide. Nezuko continued to exit her box. Zenitsu stopped when Nezuko peeked her head out. Aw, look at her. She's so adorable. Don't you agree, Kacho-san? Kenroji squealed. She is quite adorable. I'm glad that she's on our side, Kacho replied. Hey Nezuko, Tanjiro said. Nezuko began to grow to her normal size. Zenitsu stared in confusion. Little yellow stars were around Nezuko, who was standing innocently. Reality sunk in and Zenitsu groaned. Nezuko looks very pretty. I can't believe that she's a demon, Zenitsu thought. She's not that pretty. I'm way prettier, Daki thought. That's enough activity for one day, Inosuke said, passing out quickly. I'll introduce you. Nezuko is my Tanjiro, Zenitsu said coldly. What's with the cold tone? Tanjiro asked. Don't worry about it, Zenitsu chuckled sheepishly. He's about to accuse them of dating, isn't he? Kanata thought. Huh? Tanjiro turned around. A yellow light glowed from Zenitsu. Zenitsu was staring at the ground. You didn't. Hey, what's wrong? Electricity flew from Zenitsu as he continued to speak. Tell me you didn't. Just who do you think you are? What are you going on about, Zenitsu? Tanjiro said in confusion. Zenitsu's eyes were wide open. Tanjiro gasped as Nezuko walked up to them. You've been traveling with a girl this adorable, hanging around with someone this cute, day in and day out, and having a great time in the process, haven't you? Wait, are you implying what I think you are? Tanjiro asked. No, Zenitsu lied. Wait a minute, that's not. Well then, why did I bear all that pain and suffering? Tanjiro, you jerk. You getting to be all ooh and wah with a cutie is not what I was tolling away for. I did not put myself in harm's way to get pummeled and kicked around by a crazy boar guy, Zenitsu yelled while making weird expressions. What the hell is he going on about? Yusui wondered. Zenitsu, you need to calm down, Tanjiro said. You should have let me finish talking. I know. I'll make sure to let you finish in the future, Zenitsu said. Zenitsu, calm down. What has gotten into you? Do you think I joined the Demon Slayer Corps because I thought it was going to be all sunshine and rainbows? Zenitsu yelled. Guys like you should be erased from this world immediately. Wait, erased? What do you mean by that? Tanjiro yelled. Another fight? Akaza thought. Zenitsu, you shouldn't be fighting with another Demon Slayer. You of all people should know that, Yubayashiki said. Tanjiro couldn't form the right words to get Zenitsu to stop. Zenitsu then drew his sword, tears falling out of his eyes. Although Zenitsu's about to break the rules, I have to say, your sword is very pretty, Kenroji said. Oh, thanks, Zenitsu said, flustered. I'm going to kill him. Scumbags like him don't deserve to speak with Mitsuri, Iguro thought. I'll finally make you pay for thwarting my marriage, as well as sending my savior and protector Shoichi home. You shall face justice, Zenitsu said. Don't ever disrespect the core. You fiend, how could you? They all watched as Tanjiro got chased by Zenitsu. Some were shaking their heads, while others were hoping for blood to shed. Hajime was praying for Tanjiro's safety, and Yuzui yawned at the unflashiness he was witnessing. Meanwhile, Inosuke was sleeping soundly while Tanjiro was getting chased by Zenitsu. Inosuke was snoring soundly. Zenitsu, cut it out, Tanjiro yelled. Mock the Demon Slayer core, and you'll get sent straight to hell, Zenitsu screamed. You shall feel my wrath. Zenitsu, please don't hurt me, Tanjiro begged. It showed the night sky as Zenitsu was screaming. Then it faded to black. All right, everyone. That was the last episode for today. It is currently past 9. There are showers in the bathroom for those who wish to do that. There are pajamas for everyone in the drawers. The bedrooms are sectioned off by sex. Male on the left and female on the right, Shira said. For those who are demons and do not want to sleep, feel free to do whatever you'd please. If you'd like to relax, you can go through the door on the left of the screen. There's a relaxing garden. We'll resume watching around 9 am, Shiro said. Bedtime #1 . Bedtime? It's going to be hard for us to sleep peacefully, while knowing that there are demons right around the corner, Sanjuro thought. Apologies if I sound too blunt, Shiro-san, but do you really expect us to be able to sleep when there are demons here? Upper moons no less. How can you both be sure they won't kill us? Kocho asked firmly. It's quite simple. No demon with bad intentions can enter the bedrooms. Even if they could, we've made sure that they cannot kill anyone by locking away their blood demon arts. We also had a spell put in the house, preventing injuries being inflicted on anyone, Shiro said. As if we're stupid enough to believe that, Shinazugawa thought. Very well, I believe you. After all, if you wanted the demons to kill us all, you wouldn't have put up the invisible barrier, Yubayashiki said. Oyakata-sama, is it really a good idea to trust them? Shinazugawa asked. Even if they're telling the truth, what if this supposed spell fades? Shinazugawa-san, you don't need to worry about the spell fading. However, if you are still skeptical, feel free to run watch shifts. We will not be offended, Shira said. All right, everyone, I suppose we should just get ready to sleep, Yubayashiki said. This is going to be embarrassing. All the guys are going to be sleeping in one room. I'm most scared about the white and black Haori guy. I feel like he's going to kill me as soon as he gets a chance, Tanjiro thought. All of the humans began to head to the bedrooms to get their fresh pajamas. The demons did their own things, most of them just stayed in the main room. Rui decided to go look at the garden the twins had talked about. Meanwhile, the Shira went back into the recording room and locked the door behind them. The bedrooms were nearly identical. They both had peach-colored walls and light-colored floors. Several futons were lying on the floor around the room. Each had a matching cream-colored blanket on top. Those who planned to shower grabbed their pajamas and headed to the bathrooms. Hey Shiro, is it all right if I am in the women's bedroom so I can sleep with my wives? Yusui asked. Of course, the 2 bedrooms are more of a suggestion than anything. We have no preference as to where you sleep, Shiro said. After everyone finished with getting ready, they all settled in their rooms. Tanjiro and his friends moved their futons to a corner and sat next to each other. Shinazugawa and Iguro decided they were going to take turns guarding the door, so Shinazugawa stood at the door waiting. Tanjiro was about to close his eyes when Zenitsu began whispering to him. Hey, psst, Tanjiro, are you awake? Zenitsu whispered. Tanjiro rolled over, facing Zenitsu. I am now. What's up? I know that the people who teleported us here told us not to worry about how they got the footage, but I'm worrying. Do you have any idea how they got it? Zenitsu asked. I don't. I remember when Nezuko first turned like it was yesterday. Nobody was there when I was carrying her, or I would have smelled them. I think it's probably best to not think about it, but I'm confused too, Tanjiro said. Oi, brat, hush. There are people trying to sleep here, Iguro scowled. Ah, sorry, Tanjiro said quickly. Now, Obanai, be nice. They aren't hurting anyone, Yubayashiki said. Sorry, Iguro mumbled. Those eyes. They remind me of someone, but who? Oh well, I'll probably forget it anyway. Takedo thought. Now that I think about it, his earrings, they're definitely familiar, though I can't think of why. This is going to drive me crazy, Shinjiro thought. Meanwhile, in the women's bedroom, Kacho was sitting next to a dimly lit candle, holding a book. A small stack was next to her. Kenroji walked up to her and smiled. Wow, this is the first time I've seen your hair down in a while, Kacho-san, Kenroji said. Ah, Kenroji-san. No need for the formalities. Shinobu is fine, and thank you, Kocho said. Well then, you can just call me Mitsuri. Though, are you going to go to sleep? I was going to talk to Yusui-san's wives for a bit, but as soon as he came back into the room, they fell asleep in a cuddle pile. Ah, I see. Anyways, I'm going to go to sleep in a bit. I'm just doing a bit of research on robots. Unfortunately, in these books, I haven't found much yet. Ooh, that sounds interesting. What's a robot? Selena-san mentioned Shira-san and Shiro-san both being robots. From these books, it sounds like a robot is a machine that mimics a human, that is able to replicate human movements. It honestly sounds concerning. A machine that can mimic humans, that sounds scary. It sounds flashy to me, Yusui butted in. Ah, Kenroji yelled. She jumped. I thought you were asleep. I was, until I heard you talking about something that piqued my interest, Yusui said. Kacho shut her book and blew out the candle. That's enough reading for tonight. Good night, Mitsuri. Good night, Shinobu, Kenroji smiled, going back to her futon. With the demons in the main room, Daki and Jutaro were still laying on the mats. Kokushibo sighed and walked up to Shiro. Hello, Kokushibo, is there something you need? Shiro asked. Where is the other one? He asked. Shira is in the recording studio charging. Why? You are both odd. I can tell that you aren't demons, but you aren't humans either. What are you? Even if I told you, you wouldn't understand. Plus, it's very complex, and I don't feel like explaining it. I see. Very well then, Kokushibo sighed, walking away. Brother, this is so boring. There's nothing we can do. Even in the entertainment district we have something to do, Daki whined. I agree. I can't believe we're going to have to wait several hours for those useless humans to sleep, Jutaro said. Rui was in the garden looking at the flowers. The moonlight peered through the skylight, illuminating the room. There were all kinds of flowers that he had never seen before. They were all labeled in their neat little rows. This room feels very peaceful. How odd. Those siblings make no sense, but I want their bond. I wonder if Lord Musen would allow me to take the traitor demon and make her my little sister. Rui wondered. Enmu walked into the garden and up to Rui. Rui turned around quickly and faced Enmu. What do you want? Rui said. Nothing much. I just wanted to see what rank you were. I never imagined you'd be so low though. I do wonder where the rest of the 12 Kazuki are, seeing as how we're the only lower moons, Enmu said. Watch your tongue. I could easily take your rank, not that I have any interest in that. Although I will admit, you have a good point. We're the only lower moons here. Maybe they were deemed unimportant, Rui said. I suppose so, Enmu said. With Shira in the recording room, the room was dimly lit. It was decorated in anime posters and figurines. A large desk with 2 chairs was pressed against the wall. There were drawers filled with files. Shira stood over the phone and dialed a number. It only took a moment for the person on the other side to answer. Hello, which twin is this? The voice asked. Lemon, it's me, Shira. I just wanted to give you an update on the reaction. We're on schedule as of now. Everyone is either sleeping or doing their own thing. We're going to start reacting again at 9 am, Shira said. All right, that sounds good. I knew this reaction would be interesting. Feel free to report tomorrow night as well. Goodbye, Lemon said. Episode 15 Mount Natagumo. Shira was charging in the recording room. Once her internal clock hit 8 am, she awoke. All right, it's time to get ready for this day's reaction, Shira thought. Her sister began finding the demons and telling them the reaction was going to happen soon. She exited the recording room and turned the lights on. She walked towards the bedrooms, entering the male's side first to get it out of the way. Unfortunately, she was pinned against the wall by Shinazugawa. Relax, please. It's just me, Shinazugawa-san, Shira said. If you don't want me to enter, that's fine. But please wake everyone up. Yeah, sure, I'll do that, he said. I want you to leave first. Very well, Shira said. She left and headed to the kitchen. She opened the pantry and grabbed a few loaves of bread. I hope that jam-covered toast will suit them. Selena didn't leave any extra food for a Japanese breakfast. Whatever, they'll have to deal with it, she thought. She left a note saying that they could make toast or find something else to eat. Then she headed to the recording room and began to get everything ready. Shiro walked into the room after a few minutes. Everyone is awake, Shira, she said. Good, we might even get ahead of schedule, depending on how quickly they all eat, Shira said. With the humans, they all grabbed some food for breakfast. Kocho held onto the note, which left instructions on how to operate the toaster. It says to place bread in the slots and push down the lever, Kocho said. So, this thing is supposed to cook our bread? How cool, Rengoku smiled. After a half an hour, everyone had finished eating their breakfast. They all went to the seats they had yesterday and got comfortable. Is everyone ready to start? Shira asked. A unison of yeses was heard, so the play button was pressed and the screen began turned on. The episode began with a recap of what had happened the previous night. The outside of the Wisteria house was shown. The scenery was lovely. As the sun began to rise, it showed the room again. Nezuko was exiting her box. She grew to full size quickly. Right, this is where we left off. I do hope that Zenitsu got his senses back and stopped attacking. Tanjiro, Yubayashiki said. I couldn't care less whether or not this kid is alive, Iguro thought. Hi Nezuko, Zenitsu said, stringing her name out. Why did you say her name like that? Tanjiro asked, pulling Nezuko closer to him. No reason, Zenitsu said. Nezuko looked over to the boy. He was rocking back and forth with flowers appearing around him. How are you today? Zenitsu asked weirdly. Zenitsu was giggling in thought, while Nezuko blinked in confusion. He got closer to her before he began chasing her. Don't tell me, he's in love with the girl, Shinjiro thought. Tanjiro faced Zenitsu. In the future you better not chase her like that. Right, I won't, Zenitsu said, trying to not get on Tanjiro's bad side. Where are you going, Nezuko? He giggled, following her around. Wait for me. While Zenitsu followed her, Tanjiro moved between the two. Zenitsu, stop following her already, Tanjiro yelled. Damn kids, they're so annoying, Akaza thought. This is pointless, Shinazugawa muttered. Zenitsu looked at Tanjiro before saying his name slowly. The flowers were still around his head. He grabbed onto Tanjiro's hands and giggled before chasing them both. Let's be best F1, Tanjiro, Zenitsu said like a toddler. Why are you chasing them around, Zenitsu? Aoi asked. I'm not sure, Zenitsu lied. He's lying. I wonder why, Tanjiro thought. The three of them ran in circles, while Zenitsu was chasing them. Zenitsu, why are you following us around like this? Stop it, Tanjiro begged. Come on, don't be a stranger, Tanjiro, Zenitsu said. It moved outside. Inosuke was sitting by himself listening to Zenitsu being a weirdo. Inosuke's stomach growled. Why are you outside by yourself, Inosuke? Tanjiro asked. Well, it's clear that you don't want to fight me, so I have no reason to be in the room with you, Inosuke said. I doubt that's the real reason, but okay, Inosuke, Tanjiro smiled. Man, I'm hungry, Inosuke said. The old lady walked behind Inosuke, speaking, Pardon me, good sir. I cannot help but notice those clothes of yours are rather soiled. I'd be happy to clean them for you, so please wear these in the meantime. I believe you will find them comfortable and pleasant to the touch. Why is she being nice to me? It's not like she's related to me, Inosuke wondered. How is she not terrified of Inosuke? He's a wild boar, Zenitsu wondered. The old lady sat down next to Inosuke and held out a pair of fresh clothes as she spoke. Inosuke had bubbles around his head. Hey, weird girls, what's with the bubbles around boar head? Iguro asked. They are there for the same reason as the flowers. They represent Inosuke-san's happiness, Shiro answered. I'm glad that you're happy, Tanjiro smiled. I was thinking of making some tempura for dinner. You know, something covered in batter and fried to a golden brown, the woman explained. Tempura, that sounds amazing, Kenroji said. When we get out of her here, I'll make you some tempura, Kenroji-san, Iguro offered. Really? You're so kind, Iguro-san, Kenroji smiled. The little bubbles went around Inosuke's head once again. It moved back to Nezuko running from Zenitsu. Hey, wait up you two! Come back here, Nezuko. Tanjiro, Zenitsu pleaded. You really need to get your act together. The way you're acting is totally unflamboyant, Yusui sighed. Unflamboyant? What does that even mean? I swear he's making up words over there, Jutaro thought. Inosuke burst the doors open and screamed. Tanjiro and Zenitsu looked at him and stopped running. Inosuke charged into the room and headbutted Tanjiro's back. What was that for? Tanjiro yelled. I don't know, Inosuke said. Kenroji bit back a laugh, and Shinazugawa was cheering on Inosuke for attacking the slayer who was carrying a demon. Akaza looked interested for a moment. What was that for? Tanjiro asked, getting up from the floor. Inosuke screamed again, and this time he was the one chasing Tanjiro. Zenitsu followed behind the duo, and Nezuko stood off on the sidelines. Why are you chasing us, Inosuke? Zenitsu asked. They're so chaotic. I'm surprised they haven't been taken to the butterfly mansion yet, Kacho thought. Hey, don't you start chasing us now too, Inosuke, Tanjiro screamed. Save me, Kenjiro, Zenitsu yelled. Oh, now you want me to save you, Tanjiro said, scarily. I'm sorry, Zenitsu pleaded. Just then, the screen filled with ink. Rather than the title being in white, it was in red. It read Mount Natagumo. Spiderwebs were in the background too. After the title card, it was daytime. The three of them sat in the room. Spiderwebs, Tomioka muttered. Wait, does that say Mount Natagumo? That's where my family is. So these bastards are going to try and tear my family's bond apart. I can't wait to tear them to shreds, Rui thought. So they're going to fight Rui. My expectations are too high, but maybe he can kill them, Muzan thought. I wonder if those spiderwebs mean anything, Kacho said. All better, the doctor said. Tanjiro sighed. I'm glad we're all healed. They all let out a sigh of relief. Then a crow was seen flying to the manor. Zenitsu was offering some flowers to Nezuko. Tanjiro was the one who noticed the crow. The crow walked closer to Tanjiro and into his hands. It is north-northeast. To the north-northeast. Your next mission is north-northeast. The three of you are to go to Mount Natagumo. Make your way there post-haste, the crow cawed. I guess we're going on our next mission, Tanjiro said. Do we have to? What if the demon's really strong? Zenitsu asked. Quit being a wimp, Inosuke shouted. The three of them changed into their uniform and began to head out. They all turned around to face the woman who had taken care of them. We're heading out. Thank you for everything, Tanjiro said, bowing slightly. Zenitsu bowed too, while Inosuke looked at them trying to figure out why they were bowing. The old lady bowed too. Why aren't you bowing, Inosuke? Sanjiro asked. Why the hell should I be bowing? He asked. You should be bowing because it's the polite thing to do, Rengoku said. I'll bestow good luck on you, she said, holding a piece of flint and a matchbox. We appreciate it, Tanjiro smiled, turning around. Zenitsu turned around too, as the woman walked up to them. Inosuke grunted in confusion. Then the woman hit the charcoal against the thing, making little sparks. What does that hag think she's doing? Inosuke yelled. What are you talking about? The sparks are good luck, Shinazugawa scoffed. Good luck? Why does that hag think I need luck? Inosuke muttered. Inosuke burst out in rage. What do you think you're doing? Inosuke tried to kick the woman, but Zenitsu moved between them. Tanjiro wrapped his arms around Inosuke, trying to pull him back. That woman gave you a place to stay. You shouldn't be attacking her, Haimjima scolded Inosuke. Stop that, you idiot, Zenitsu screamed. What the hell did you call me? Inosuke asked. What did you say? Inosuke shouted. It's ceremonial. We're going on a journey and striking sparks is for luck, Zenitsu yelled, informing Inosuke. Always live your lives in a fashion where you are able to hold your heads high. I wish you luck in battle, the woman said. Why is she saying that to us? What does it even mean? Inosuke wondered. She's so kind to us. I hope that she stays safe, Tanjiro thought, smiling. All of them stood outside the gates. Everyone but Inosuke bowed slightly. Inosuke turned his head to the others. After the ceremony, they all began running to their next mission. Inosuke looked back at the old woman who was still bowing. The three of them ran quickly, following a path. Heads up high, luck in battle. What does that mean? Inosuke asked. Do you really not know what that means? Yushiro asked. Of course not. Do you think I'm lying? Inosuke yelled. Calm down, Inosuke. It's not a big deal, Tanjiro said, grabbing Inosuke's arm. Geez, this guy is totally clueless, Zenitsu thought, looking back at Inosuke. Inosuke glared at Zenitsu. He gulped as Inosuke kept staring at him. To be honest, it is a little bit difficult to explain. To hold your head high, I guess it means whatever hand you're given in this life, you're able to conduct yourself in a way that's honorable, so that you're never ashamed, Tanjiro explained, while still running. I'd say you did a good job explaining it, Tanjiro, Yubayashiki smiled. Ah, thank you, Tanjiro smiled back. That still doesn't make sense, Inosuke thought. Huh, Inosuke said. And wishing us luck in battle just means that she's praying for our safety, Tanjiro said. I'm happy she wished us luck, Tanjiro said. Well, what about the hand you're given? We have 2 already, and why should we be ashamed, Inosuke asked. This guy might be denser than Tomioka, and that's saying a lot. Why is he taking it so literally? Iguro wondered. That's not quite what I meant, Tanjiro said. Well, I guess, Tanjiro tried to say. What does it mean to conduct yourself honorably anyways? And why is that old hag praying for our safety in the first place? She has nothing to do with us, so what's her game? Huh, Inosuke asked. Exactly, future me. We're not even related. She should be focused on herself. Inosuke, she was just being nice, Tanjiro sighed. Tanjiro stared at Inosuke and groaned. Maybe she should be worried about her own hands, Inosuke groaned. Is this kid for real? He's an idiot, Gyako thought, annoyed. Rather than responding, Tanjiro ran faster. They both gasped. I see how it is. If you want to make it a race, I'll definitely win, Inosuke shouted. That's clearly not what he's trying to do, Aoi sighed. He sped up, Zenitsu said. Inosuke growled before speeding up. This is a race? I won't let you win. Wait for me, you too, Zenitsu huffed, speeding up behind them. Sorry for speeding up and making you run faster, Tanjiro said. It's fine, I suppose, Zenitsu said. It was now sundown. The sun was disappearing behind the mountains. Eerie music played as the tall mountain was shown. It was now completely dark. What's with the eerie music? It's so not flashy, Yusui said. I suppose it's there to help make the atmosphere more creepy, Kacho guessed. I don't like it. That mountain is creepy enough, Zenitsu said. Everyone, we need to pause here, Zenitsu exclaimed. What's wrong? Did you get hurt? Tanjiro asked. I have a feeling that's not the case, Yorikadaki thought. Zenitsu. What's wrong? Tanjiro asked. Zenitsu was sitting on the ground crying. I'm nervous, okay? Now that we're nearing our destination, I'm getting scared. You're a wimp. I have no idea how you've made it this far. You're quite pathetic, Takedo said. Og, that's just mean. I now know that I'm not a weakling, okay? But I'm the one acting rationally here. There are man-eating demons on the mountain, and even the slightest mistake could kill me, Zenitsu yelled. Zenitsu, I believe in you. You can conquer your fears, Tanjiro smiled. Why the hell is he sitting like that? It's pretty weird if you ask me, Inosuke said. I know you didn't just call me weird, Mr. Boarhead, Zenitsu yelled. What did you call me? Inosuke yelled back. Please, this isn't the time to be fighting. We're going on a mission, so I want to collect information, Tanjiro said. Who are you to talk to me about weird? You can't tell me you're not getting any spooky vibes from that mountain, Zenitsu yelled. I agree with Zenitsu. I'm also getting a creepy vibe from the mountain, Kenroji said. See, she gets, Zenitsu started saying. Well, that's all the more reason to go there and kill the demons, Rengoku said. They both turned around and faced the mountain. Inosuke grunted as it zoomed into the mountain. The eerie music played again. They both turned back to Zenitsu. Even so, you can't exactly wait here, Tanjiro said. I told you this guy's an odd duck, Inosuke added. I'm not an odd duck. You guys are the weirdos. You're the ones who are fearless and don't care that you could die, Zenitsu yelled. What are you talking about? Of course I'm scared that I might die, Tanjiro said, but I don't let that fear control me. With time you can make it stop controlling you too. I am not an odd duck, Zenitsu refuted. I'm completely normal. It's you guys who are the strange ones. Tanjiro gasped as the sound of distant screeching was heard. Tanjiro turned back to the mountain. What was that sound? Rengoku asked. It sounded like screeching. Someone might be injured, Kocho said. Tanjiro? There's something wrong, Zenitsu asked. What is this smell? He asked, running off. Hey, you can't just leave me there, Zenitsu yelled. Sorry, I just need to go make sure nobody's hurt, Tanjiro explained. Tanjiro, hey, Zenitsu screamed. Inosuke followed Tanjiro, closer to the mountain. Wait up, don't leave me here by myself. Who knows what'll happen, Zenitsu screamed, running after the two. Tanjiro and Inosuke breathed heavily as they ran further up the path. They gasped once they realized what was there. A demon slayer. He was trying to crawl away from the mountain. Is that a demon slayer? Haimjima asked. I believe so. They appear to be wearing our uniforms, Rengoku said. Oh, I hope they'll be all right, Kenroji sighed. He looked up at the boys. Help me. Please, help me. Look at his uniform. That boy, he's one of us, Tanjiro said. Do any of you recognize that slayer? Amane asked. Variations of no were heard around the room. Tanjiro looked down, hoping he could save the boy. Hey, don't leave me behind, Zenitsu screamed as Tanjiro and Inosuke ran up to the boy. Are you all right? What happened? Tanjiro yelled. Little strings were shown attached to the back of the boy's uniform. He screamed as the strings pulled him away from Tanjiro and his friends. Tanjiro held his hand out. The threads, they're pulling him away, Tanjiro yelled. I hope we see him die. I want to watch the despair fall onto his face, Enmu thought. They were attached to me too, the boy screamed, holding his hand out. Please don't let me die here. Damn it, I didn't save him. I hope he'll forgive me, Tanjiro thought. Finally, I was getting tired of that shitty kid saving everyone, Jutaro thought. Zenitsu covered his mouth with his hands as he whimpered. The wind began gushing through the air, filling Tanjiro's nose with a terrifying scent. His hands began to shake, before he hardened his expression. Tanjiro, your hand, it's shaking, Zenitsu said. Tanjiro chuckled. I told you, I might seem calm, but internally I am scared. You have a strong soul, Tanjiro, Yubayashiki said. I'm going in, Tanjiro said. Inosuke pushed past Tanjiro and said, I'll head in first, you stay behind me, trembling like a scared little animal. This is making me hungry, Inosuke said. Thank you for going with me, Inosuke, Tanjiro smiled. Whatever, it's not like I was going because of you or anything, Inosuke said. Inosuke, Tanjiro whispered. Why is he such a show-off? Zenitsu asked, shaking in fear. Inosuke laughed. Let's go. Inosuke and Tanjiro ran into the forested mountain, leaving Zenitsu by himself. Ominous music played as it showed bits of the mountain. What appeared to be tombs were around the mountain, as well as thousands of little spiders. A person was sitting on a tree branch. They had white skin and blue toenails. They were kicking their legs back and forth. Wait, you guys are leaving me behind, Zenitsu yelled. We are? I assumed you'd follow us, Tanjiro admitted. Sister, that's definitely her. Mother and father better kill these brats, or they're done for, Rui thought. Is that a demon I see sitting on the branch? Kocho asked in a sing-song voice. A slayer was hung up by the spider webs. Their arms were tied behind them, and they were looking down. A creepy head peeked out from behind a tree. As it zoomed out, it seemed to be a garden of dead demon slayers all hung up. Those damn demons, how could they do that? Shinazugawa yelled. That's awful, Kenroji said, looking away from the corpses. That's brother. I'm glad he took out at least some of them, Rui thought. Rui's family better kill these kids, Muzan thought. Another demon was shown. This one had dark skin and white hair. He was standing on a cliff. The full moon lit up the sky behind him as he ran down. A demon sitting on a rock. She had long white hair. Tanjiro and Inosuke walked through the forest. The insects were chirping loudly. Mother and father, they better not fail me, Rui thought. So far, I've counted 4 demons, Kocho said. Demons that are working together? How strange, Rengoku commented. I agree, it is odd. I don't think I've ever encountered demons that were working together before, Aguro said. They kept walking up the mountain. Inosuke paused, looking at his hands. Huh? What is this? Inosuke asked. A spider web covered his hands. Another spider web. This is getting more confusing, Kenroji said. Tanjiro looked over Inosuke's shoulder. They both looked around. There were spider webs placed between trees all throughout the forest. A spider was in the middle of the web. That's a lot of spider webs, Zenitsu commented. I wonder if these demons have anything to do with spiders then, Tanjiro said. Probably, Shinazugawa scoffed. A spider web, Tanjiro said. This place is full of them, as far as the eye can see. What a pain, Inosuke shouted, waving his hand to get the web off. Yeah, you're right, Tanjiro responded. Inosuke. What? Are you going to scold me again? Inosuke said. No, I don't think that's what I'm going to do, Tanjiro smiled. What the hell is this idiot smiling for? Inosuke wondered. What do you want? Inosuke yelled. I appreciate this. Are you thanking Inosuke? Zenitsu asked. I am, likely because he went into the forest with me, and it made me feel safer, Tanjiro said. What? When you said you'd go check things out with me, I was relieved, Tanjiro smiled. Huh. That ominous scent I was picking up from the mountain scared me a bit, so having you here makes me feel better. So thanks, Tanjiro smiled. So Tanjiro really does get scared too. I don't get it though. He's so amazing. I can't imagine someone like him getting scared, Zenitsu thought. Ah, this is a bit embarrassing, Tanjiro thought. Inosuke began stammering. He then remembered the kindness that the old woman showed him. The memory played in his head. Little white circles flew next to Inosuke. That means you're happy, right Inosuke? Tanjiro asked. Shut up, Inosuke yelled. Inosuke, Tanjiro said, holding up his hand. What, have you found the demon? Zenitsu asked. I don't think so. I haven't reached for my sword yet, Tanjiro answered. Perhaps it's another demon slayer, Kenroji suggested. They went silent for a moment. Then they saw a demon slayer who was wandering the forest. Yay, I was right, Kenroji celebrated. That girl is quite noisy. Although, she does look quite strong. That's interesting, I suppose, Kokushibo thought. Tanjiro gasped. Let's go. They both ran up to the slayer. He was looking around the forest nervously. He was shuddering, sweat falling down his chin. Tanjiro gently put his hand on the slayer's shoulder. The slayer turned around quickly, reaching for his sword. Tanjiro, you nearly gave the poor slayer a heart attack, Zenitsu said. That demon slayer must be pretty weak if he didn't sense you two walking up to him, Takedo said. Tomioka looked closer at the screen before mumbling, he looks familiar. I think his name was Miraha. No, that doesn't sound right. Oh, I remember it was Murata. Tomioka-san, do you know this slayer? Kacho asked. I do. His name is Murata. We went to final selection the same year, Tomioka said. Wow, he actually responded, Kacho thought. We've come to help out. I'm Tanjiro Kamado, rank Mizunoto, Tanjiro whispered. Mizunoto, Murata repeated softly. You serious? They should have sent us a Hashira. No matter how many Mizunoto they send in, it won't be enough. He should be grateful we're going to help, Inosuke yelled. Inosuke, that's not nice, Tanjiro said. Inosuke interrupted Murata's speech by punching him in the face. He backed up, holding his face. Inosuke, why did you punch him? I thought we said not to fight other corps members, Tanjiro screeched. Whatever, he totally deserved it, Inosuke said, crossing his arms. Whether or not he deserved it doesn't make it okay, Yubayashiki said. Inosuke, Tanjiro yelled. Ah, shut up. The only thing I see around here that's not enough is this sputtering pool of sweat in front of me. Now how about you tell us just what is going on here? Although I disagree with his actions, he does have a point, Iguro said. I agree, that demon slayer shouldn't be whining about who's there or not, Shinazugawa said. Who do you think you're talking to? Did you forget that I have seniority? Murata thought, while Inosuke was gripping his hair. Tomioka-san, do you know what rank Murata-san is? Kacho asked. No, Tomioka said. T the Crow gave us orders to come to this place, Murata said, the memory playing, and 10 of us corps members gathered here. Not long after we entered the mountain, that's when it started. 10, where are the other members then? Kenroji asked. I do hope nothing bad happened to my children, Yubayashiki said. The slayer who was in front turned around and drew his sword. He went to the person behind him and slashed him. A slayer behind Murata drew his sword too. What the hell? Why is that slayer attacking another? Rengoku shouted. How lovely. The blood and death is quite amazing. Enmu thought. Good. Mother is taking care of them. She better keep it up. Rui thought. The slayers began killing each other. Why would they do that? Kenroji asked. I'm sure there's a logical explanation, Kacho said. It showed various images of the slayers murdering each other. Murata watched as a controlled slayer began walking up to him. Blood was dripping down its face and mouth. Poor Murata-san, he had to watch that go down, Tanjiro thought. Hajime began to pray for the dead slayers. Zenitsu's eyes were stuck on the screen. His teeth were chattering as the bloodshed continued. I was so, Murata said. Tanjiro and Inosuke listened carefully. Then it cut to someone holding a tired crow. Huh, who's that? Tanjiro wondered. You did well to return, a male voice said softly. It would appear that most of my children have been killed. Master, that's your voice. Are you going to deploy some Hashira? Rengoku asked. It seems like I have no other choice, Yubayashiki sighed. The man wore a white haori with pink and purple on it. Next to him sat a child with a flower kimono and a red hair bow. In front of the man stood another child. She had a matching outfit, but a green hair bow. Are those the kids from Final Selection? Genya asked. No, Amane said. We may very well find the 12 Kazuki there. It would seem I'll have to send in some Hashira. Behind the man sat Tomioka and Kacho. The twins looked back at them. Their faces were shown as the man said their names. Tomioka-san, we get to go on a mission together. It's that exciting? Kacho asked. Not really, Tomioka said calmly. Understood, they said in unison. If only demons and humans could get along with each other. Wouldn't you agree, Tomioka? Kacho asked. You wish that demons and humans could get along? Tanjiro asked in disbelief. Why, of course I do. I'd love nothing more than to become friends with a demon who doesn't hurt people, Kacho said, smiling. Bullshit. That isn't your dream at all, is it? Shinazugawa thought. That's a pipe dream, as long as demons hunt us, Tomioka responded coldly. Don't be so cold, Tomioka-san, Kacho said. It cut back to Zenitsu. He was sulking on the ground. I wonder if the others hate me. Would someone normally leave their friend behind like this? You'd talk him through it if you were close, wouldn't you? Zenitsu wondered. He imagined the scenario if his friends had talked to him. If they both had tried to convince me to go, I would've. I'm sure of it. But instead, they both went on their merry way up that scary mountain, leaving poor little me all alone. I'm sorry we left you alone. I'm sure that wasn't our intention, Tanjiro apologized. It's all right. I know that you both don't hate me and I need to be braver, Zenitsu said. I'm sure you can do it, Tanjiro smiled. His thinking was interrupted by his sparrow chirping. He looked down at his sparrow. I wonder how he gets his orders if his sparrow can't talk, Iguro wondered. It continued chirping it was trying to say. Sulking doesn't do any good. You have to go help your friends now. Wait, is that what my sparrow is really trying to say? Zenitsu asked. I guess so. Your sparrow is really kind, like you, Tanjiro smiled. Zenitsu sighed. You don't have a care in the world, do you? All our human problems, you have no idea. I doubt that. I'm sure your sparrow's been through more than you, Shinazugawa thought. Chuntaro was offended by Zenitsu's comment, so they bit Zenitsu's hand. Zenitsu yelled in pain. Hey, what the hell was that for? Zenitsu screamed. I think he was offended by your comment, Tanjiro said. Kenroji tried not to laugh at the moment, while a few of the other Hashiras face-palmed. You think you're being cute right now? Well, you're really not. I don't like this side of you one tiny bit. Why can't you take some notes from Nezuko, huh? She's adorable, and she's a demon, Zenitsu yelled. Then it hit him. Nezuko was with Tanjiro. His eyes widened before he screamed. Did you just realize that Nezuko was with me? Tanjiro asked. Well, it's not my fault. I do badly under stress. Okay, Zenitsu huffed. I just realized he took Nezuko along with him, Zenitsu screamed, running to the forest. Why did he have to go and take my precious Nezuko with him like that? Damn you, Tanjiro. Taking a young girl like her into danger. Idiot, idiot, idiot. I'll save you, Nezuko. Tanjiro turned his head to Zenitsu. Why did you call Nezuko my precious Nezuko, Zenitsu? I'm sorry. Okay, Zenitsu apologized. He had given up on trying to explain himself. Zenitsu left a trail of dust as he ran to the mountain searching for Nezuko. Meanwhile, with the others, a creaking sound was heard. It panned across the forest, then showed the slayers. Inosuke was looking around. That rattling sound, what is it? Tanjiro asked. Not again, Murata said softly. I've heard this sound before. It's the sound I heard the moment before everyone started to kill each other. This is worrisome. I hope Shinobu and Tomioka-sen will get there in time, Kenroji said. I'm sure they will, Iguro reassured her. Where's it coming from? Tanjiro asked. The three of them looked around trying to find the source of the sound. Murata gasped as a slayer began walking up to them all. The movements of the slayer seemed very jagged and forced. However, once the slayer walked into the moonlight, there were several more behind him. One of them ran up to the group, sword raised ready to attack. They dodged all the attacks, only for another slayer to try and kill them. That's odd, Kacho said. What's odd, Kacho-san? Rengoku asked. Their movements seem very forced. I wonder if they're being controlled, Kacho suggested. That makes sense, especially since we saw the other slayer getting pulled by the threads earlier, Tanjiro said. I'm surprised they figured it out that quickly. No matter, it's still effective whether they know about it or not, Rui thought. Inosuke and Tanjiro dodged easily. Tanjiro noticed that the slayers were moving seemed unnatural. Inosuke effortlessly did a back flip avoiding the blade. Those poor slayers, I can't imagine the pain they're feeling, Aoi said. Well, they all look pretty dead to me, Genya said. These guys morons or something? They don't know it's taboo for us demon slayers to fight each other, Inosuke said. I know you're not talking about what's taboo, Zenitsu scoffed. Zenitsu, there's no need to provoke Inosuke, Tanjiro sighed. That's not it, Tanjiro countered. They're acting odd, like they're being manipulated. Inosuke began to unravel his blades. Here we go. I'm gonna cut 'em to pieces. You can't do that, Tanjiro yelled. They're alive. At least, I believe some are. Besides, the bodies of the ones who are still our teammates. Even though they're dead, he still treats them as if they're alive, Kuina thought, admiring Tanjiro. How stupid. If that were me, I'd want to be killed right away, Tomioka thought. Inosuke dodged one of the slayer's attacks and talked to Tanjiro. Listen you, stop denying me at every turn. Inosuke headbutted Tanjiro in the stomach. Murata blocked another swordsman's blade. Meanwhile, another one tried to creep up on him, but they were stopped by Inosuke. Tanjiro and Inosuke took that opportunity to knock over the other slayer. Inosuke, don't headbutt me. We're on the same side, Tanjiro pleaded. I'm glad you protected Murata, Yubayashiki smiled. Of course, Tanjiro said, happily. I got a strange, sweet scent from his back, Tanjiro thought. Tanjiro took his blade and slashed above the slayer's back. Once he did, the threads were severed, and the corpse fell to the ground. You found a weak spot. Good job, Rengoku praised them. It's threads. They're being controlled by threads, Tanjiro shouted. Cut them off. Inosuke laughed before jumping above the controlled slayers. He slashed around them all, cutting the threads effortlessly. All of the bodies dropped to the ground. Wow, that was really good, Inosuke. I'm glad you didn't cut any of the bodies, Tanjiro smiled. I already knew about that before you caught on, Inosuke said. Liar, Zenitsu thought. He's definitely lying. Oh well, Tanjiro thought. Where's the location of the demon who's controlling them? Tanjiro wondered as he looked around. Just then, a scent flew into his nose. Tanjiro quickly covered his nose. What is that revolting odor? Was just for a second though. A crawling sound was heard. Tanjiro looked down at his arm and noticed 2 spiders. Then it went to the woman with long hair. She giggled. The threads came out of her fingertips. She pulled away and Tanjiro's arm was pulled too. Tanjiro gasped and quickly cut the threads. The spiders, that's how the demon is gaining control of us, Tanjiro shouted. Good eye Kamado-kun, Rengoku praised. I get it. The spiders are just attaching people to the puppet strings. That means, Tanjiro thought. Just then all of the corpses got off of the ground. It went back to the demon who was controlling them. She had red markings on her face. It's a shame she's a demon because she's really pretty, Kenroji thought. What a terrible blood demon art, Iguro thought. Now, listen closely. My precious little dolls, dance until your arms and legs fall off, she said. Cutting the threads isn't enough, Tanjiro yelled. The spiders will just replace them, so we... That's annoying. Kacho, Tomioka, you better make quick work of these demons, Shinazugawa said. I'll do my best, Kacho smiled. The smell went through Tanjiro's nose again. That horrible smell again. What is it? It's coming from far away. What is that smell? Tanjiro wondered. Little spiders began crawling towards Tanjiro. Tanjiro jumped out of the way, just in time. So all we gotta do is annihilate those damn insects. Huh, Inosuke asked. Are you kidding? There's probably a million spiders, Yushiro said. Yushiro, be nice, Tameo scolded. Right, sorry Miss Tameo, Yushiro said. No way, they're too small, and there's got to be at least a million of them, Tanjiro said. We gotta find the demon that's controlling them instead. Got ya, Inosuke said. He lowered his sword, stabbing a few of the spiders. Didn't Tanjiro just tell you that stabbing them was pointless? Zenitsu asked. So, I'm still dwindling the numbers, aren't I? Inosuke asked. It's no good, Inosuke, Tanjiro yelled while dodging the other slayers. Listen, if you have some kind of power that can pinpoint the demon's location, that would really help. This disgusting smell has been blowing in, but I just can't tell where it's from. You there, your name? I suppose this is all right for a fight, although I hope it's going to get more interesting later, Akaza thought. This is pretty boring. I should annoy Akaza later, Dalma thought. It's Murata, he said. Murata, the two of us will take care of the people being controlled. In the meantime, just then a face was shown. They had white skin and the same markings as the woman before. His shadow fell over Tanjiro. He looked up and noticed the demon. He was walking on the threads. I'm going to talk to them, Rui thought. Kacho looked over and saw Rui. She asked, I'm sorry, but is that demon you? It is, and I think you are all foolish to try and ruin my family's bond, Rui said. My name is Rui, by the way. I'm only telling you that so the stupid screen doesn't. I'm sorry, did that demon just say family? Kacho wondered. No, maybe I heard it wrong. I will not let you disturb my family's peaceful life, Rui said. Hold up, did he say family? Iguro asked coldly. So I didn't hear it wrong. Those demons are your family. Yeah, what about it? Rui asked firmly. Tanjiro's face was full of shock. He's floating. No, he's standing on the threads. His family? Mother will be sure to make quick work of all of you, Rui said. So all of the demons we saw before are his family, Urokodaki said. Whose mother? Tanjiro asked softly. Inosuke screamed as he ran towards the demon. He stepped on one of the corpses' backs and launched himself towards Rui. He missed his attack, and Rui seemed unbothered. Rui began walking away. You dumbass, that isn't a good idea, Iguro said. What do you know? Inosuke said. Damn you! Where the hell do you think you're going? Fight me! Fight! Inosuke shouted. He fell to the ground before he could finish. Inosuke, that isn't a good idea. We don't even know what he can do, Tanjiro sighed. Shut up. I could have hit him if I jumped a little higher, Inosuke muttered. He's lucky I didn't attack him. Otherwise he'd be dead. Rui thought, how annoying. Are you all right, Inosuke? Tanjiro asked. Why did he even show up anyway? Inosuke asked. I don't think he's the demon who is controlling our people with these threads. We can't focus on him now, Tanjiro said, blocking an attack. You're being so pushy, Inosuke complained. Sorry, Inosuke, Tanjiro said, sheepishly. Okay, I get it. All right, Inosuke said, disarming a corpse. You want me to go find the one who is? Shut up about it already. Inosuke planted his swords in the ground and prepared his breathing style. Beast breathing, 7th form. Spatial awareness. Once Inosuke used this form, everything went black and white. A ripple went from where he was crouching. It flew through the forest, going over everything in its path. Inosuke was absorbing all of the information he was getting. Just then it came across the demon who was controlling the threads. After it found her, the vibrations went back to Inosuke. That's such a cool form, Inosuke, Tanjiro praised. Of course it is. I'm the one who made it, Inosuke shouted. Tanjiro, don't go stroking his ego, Zenitsu said. I found you, Inosuke said, you demon. It showed the full moon, and then Rui, who was still standing on the threads. I won't let anyone get in our way, Rui said, holding a spider web above his face. The 5 of us are going to live in happiness as a family. No one on this mortal plane will tear us apart. What an odd demon, Zenitsu thought. The way he's wording it is really odd, Tanjiro thought. After that, the screen went black. I'm kinda worried, Tanjiro thought. Let's continue, Shira said. Episode 16, letting someone else go first. The episode started with another recap. Inosuke used his breathing style to find where the demon was. That move is really cool. I can't believe that you can find a demon from that far away, Tanjiro praised. Of course it's cool, Inosuke bragged. You find them? Tanjiro asked, still defending himself from the slayers. Those poor slayers, forced to attack their fellow demon slayers after they died, Heimjima sighed. I hope that they're going to rest well in the afterlife, Kacho sighed sadly. Yeah, follow me that way, Inosuke said, using his swords to point. I'm sensing a strong presence over there. How does that form even work? Zenitsu asked. I sense the changes in the air, Inosuke answered. Wow, that's really cool, Inosuke-kun, Kenroji said. You are? Way to go, Inosuke, Tanjiro said. The little bubbles went around Inosuke again. He grunted in happiness. Inosuke quickly dodged a swing that was going his way. Damn this screen. It's showing my happiness. Now they all know about it, Inosuke thought angrily. I'm glad you dodged that attack, Inosuke, Yubayashiki said. Why you? Inosuke yelled. We can't get anywhere with these guys around. Murata looked at the situation and grunted. I hope that Murata-san is going to protect his juniors, Rengoku said. He better, he's being a wimp right now, Iguro scowled. Damn it, isn't there? Isn't there any way we can get out of this? Tanjiro asked. The screen went black and showed the title. It went back to Zenitsu. He was breathing heavily as he traversed through the forest. Oh, it's me, Zenitsu said. I hope that you're faring better than we are, Tanjiro chuckled. Nezu, where are you? Zenitsu said out of breath. Nezuko. I don't like the fact that he's alone, Kacho sighed. Well, if Mother is dealing with those brats, I wonder who's going to attack him. Probably brother or sister, Rui thought. Zenitsu put his hand on a tree and tried to fix his breathing. It showed a spider web that was next to Zenitsu, and then it transitioned back to Tanjiro and Inosuke. To hell with this crap. That's it, I'm just gonna demolish them all at once, Inosuke yelled. Tanjiro turned to Inosuke. You can't hurt them. What? Why not? They're literally dead, and they're also trying to kill us. Why can't I just slash them? Inosuke asked, annoyed. Surprisingly, I'm siding with the boar kid. They're literally trying to kill you both, and they're already dead, Shinazugawa said. Stop it. You can't, Tanjiro retorted. There must be a way to save them. Listen, we can't hurt these people. He's gonna have to learn sooner or later that he can't save everyone, Makio thought. He's an idiot. Why is he denying me at every turn? Inosuke wondered. Tanjiro gasped as one of the dead slayers began charging at him. Just then Murata ran in front of Tanjiro and protected him. Murata, he protecting me, Tanjiro said happily. That's good. I'm glad that he's getting more confident, Urokodaki said. I'm also glad he's protecting his juniors, and that's a noble part of the Demon Slayer Corps, Rengoku said. Murata, Tanjiro said in disbelief. Leave these guys to me and go on ahead, Tanjiro, Murata said, still holding the Slayer back. I'm glad he's doing all right, Tomioka thought. Big talk from the guy who pissed his pants, Inosuke yelled. Inosuke laughed at his future self-sentence. Tanjiro looked in horror. A few of the slayers tried not to laugh at Inosuke's honesty. Inosuke, that's not nice at all, Tanjiro yelled. So, Inosuke asked. He really has no manners, Zenitsu said. I never did anything of the sort, you stupid boar, Murata yelled back. Inosuke sat up quickly. I know that loser didn't call me a stupid boar. Well, it's not like he's wrong, Zenitsu muttered. Zenitsu, be nice, Tanjiro whispered to Zenitsu. Huh, Inosuke grunted angrily. I wasn't even talking to you, so butt out, Murata said, still fighting the Slayer. I know I wasn't very brave back there, but I'm still a demon slayer. I'll find a way to hold them off. I know now that I just need to cut the threads, and that their movement patterns are very basic, so I should be fine. I'll watch out for the spiders too. Huh, so that demon slayer isn't a total wimp. What great news, Delma said, clapping his hands together in shock. I'm gonna kill this bastard, Akaza and Kacho thought in sync. As he spoke, the dead slayers began getting up again. Murata kept holding his opponent back. There have to be people who are under even greater control that are closer to the demon. You have to help them, Murata said. More people that are under the demon's control. How awful, Hajime said. I'll do my best to save them, Tanjiro said. He's going to be thoroughly disappointed. Mother is going to kill them all right in front of him. Rui smiled. I got it. Stay strong, Tanjiro said, running over to Inosuke. Let's go, Inosuke. Inosuke began yelling as Tanjiro pulled him. Wah, hey, let go of me, damn it. I want to pound that guy's face in. First, who's he calling a stupid boar? I agree with my future self. I should totally clobber this guy, Inosuke commented. You can't clobber a fellow Demon Slayer member, Genya huffed. Watch me, Inosuke laughed. Oh, shut up. Stop messing around and get out of here, Murata yelled back. I feel bad for Murata-san, Kenroji admitted. Agreed, that boar-head kid is really annoying, Iguro muttered. I'm gonna make you see stars when I get back. You have my word, Inosuke yelled as he left Murata's sight. The two of them continued to run through the forest. Damn it, I can't wait to get back and pummel that guy, Inosuke said. Violent moron. Zenitsu thought. Stop talking like that, Tanjiro said. Inosuke turned his head to Tanjiro. Didn't you hear him call me a stupid boar, Manjiro? Yeah, Manjiro. I have to attack him for calling me that, Inosuke tried to reason. That isn't my name. Also, no, you don't have to attack him, Tanjiro sighed. He had lost hope for Inosuke. My name's Tanjiro, Tanjiro said, annoyed. Anyway, are we headed the right way? My senses have never led me astray, Inosuke boasted. Although what are all these annoying threads? The demon must be close, Kacho said. Webs, how unflashy. Where's the style? Izui sighed in disappointment. I agree, Lord Tenjin, Makio said quickly. It must mean we're closing in on the demon, Tanjiro suggested, holding his arm above his head. They both stopped as it showed a foot slamming into the ground. Huh, whose foot is that? Nakaim muttered. Huh? There's another group here, Inosuke said. Another group? I hope they aren't in trouble, Kenroji said. They probably are, Shinazugawa scoffed. Now, Shinazugawa-san. No need to be a pessimist, Kocho said firmly. A girl had several strings attached to her. She was wearing the classic uniform, and her hair was in a ponytail. Stop, she said. Several bodies were shown as she spoke. Don't come any closer. You have to go, and bring someone here who's a higher rank. It's the only way for certain to stop the rest of us from being killed. Oh my goodness, Kenroji said. That's horrible. Hajime began praying for the slayers that had been killed. May they rest in peace. Her face was covered in terror at her actions. Next to her was a slayer who had been stabbed in the neck. She was holding another slayer's hair. Tears were in her eyes. I'm so sorry. If only we had been there a little bit earlier, maybe we could have saved them, Tanjiro thought. That looks quite lovely. Of course, not as nice as my artwork, Jayako thought. Do any of you know who that slayer is? Kacho asked. I do. Her name is Ozaki. She's the third rank. Kanado, if I remember correctly, Yubayashiki said. Help us, she sobbed. I beg you. Poor girl, Amane sighed quietly. Meanwhile, with the demon, she was giggling as she controlled the threads. I wonder if you can defeat them, she asked. The closer that someone is able to get to me, the stronger these threads of mine become, as to my precious dolls. Damn demon, Shinazugawa muttered. I'm gonna kill you. She's the one who's controlling the threads. I hope that Inosuke and I kill her, Tanjiro thought. Mother sure is taking her sweet time, Rui thought angrily. She sat in near silence. The only sounds were the threads she was pulling. However, the silence was interrupted by a voice. Mother, Rui said. The mother had fear fall on her face. She quickly faced her fake son. Rui was standing next to a tree. She looks scared? Why? Tanjiro wondered. My, another demon that shows more emotion. How surprising, such a shame that we can't be friends, Kacho sighed. I wonder why she looks scared, Kenroji asked. It's none of your guys' business, Rui scoffed. Can you really win? Rui asked. Everyone sat in silence, wanting to see the full conversation. Rui, don't you think this is taking too much time? Her eyes widened at Rui's words. Fear was upon her face, while Rui's composure stayed calm. "You'd better get to it, or I'm gonna have to tell father," Rui threatened. "He's threatening her," Tanjiro quickly noticed. "I wonder why the child demon is threatening the other demon," Sumo wondered. "How awful, he's threatening her," Kenroji thought. "No, I can do it. You don't have to worry. I promise to protect you," the mother begged. "So please, whatever you do, don't tell your father, not him." "She's scared of another demon," Shinazugawa said, confused. "That seems like genuine fear. That's so odd," Iguro said. It zoomed into Rui's eye before he spoke. "Well then, hurry it up." Rui walked away, and the mother spider panted in fear. She began to hyperventilate and panic set in. Her hands were trembling as she whimpered. "Is a demon having a panic attack?" Kacho said. She was completely shocked at what she was watching. "This is so weird. I miss when demons were just totally evil and killing them was the right thing to do all of the time," Shinazugawa sighed. "Die, all of you, just die already. It'll be hell for me if I don't get rid of you," she said. Her voice was shaky. "Hell for her to pay? Want to expand on that, Rui?" Kocho asked. "No," Rui scoffed. It showed her pulling the strings, and at the same time Ozaki raised her sword. "Run away," she screamed. "This is so amazing. The fear in her voice is quite delightful," Dalma cackled. "Shut the fuck up," Akaze yelled, "or your ego isn't going to be the only thing that's shattered." "How cruel of you, Akaze Dono," Dalma sighed dramatically. She moved forward and swung her sword. Tanjiro jumped out of the way, commenting on her speed. "I'm being controlled, so my movements aren't my own," she managed to get out between swings. "I was never anywhere near as strong as this. When we get back, Amane, please remind me to send a letter to Ozaki about this mission," Yubayashiki requested. "Of course," Amane smiled. "I hope that we can change the future so she doesn't have to suffer like this," Kocho sighed. Her arms began to move behind her back. She screamed as her bones broke from the force. Nevertheless, she charged at Tanjiro, quickly swinging her blade. The demon that's controlling her has no concern for the strain it's putting on her body, Tanjiro thought. What a cruel demon, Tanjiro thought. She screamed as she continued the assault. Tanjiro could do nothing but block Ozaki's sword. This is cruel, Tanjiro thought. It went back to the mother spider. How awful. She doesn't even care about hurting Ozaki-san, Kenroji sighed sadly. Of course she doesn't. She's a demon, Shinazugawa scoffed. Iguro glared at Shinazugawa. Don't talk to Kenroji-san like that, you asshole. Stubborn imbeciles, she said, before pulling the threads. Take this. Back with Tanjiro, a rattling sound was heard, as the severely injured slayer began to move. She's controlling the injured slayers, Kenroji exclaimed. That can't be good for them. They all likely have internal injuries, Kocho said. That sound, Tanjiro said. Tanjiro and Inosuke looked behind them. Two horribly injured slayers stood up. One was clearly dead, while the other wasn't. One of them is still alive, Iguro noticed. He must be in a lot of pain, Kenroji said. Please end my life, the slayer begged. All the bones in my arms and legs, they're broken, piercing my insides. Every time I'm forced to move, the pain is unbearable. I can't take it anymore. Either way, I'll die. So please, finish the job. How awful, Hinetsuru said. Damn demons. I'm gonna kill every last one of them, Shinazugawa yelled. Tanjiro's eyes shook in horror at both the sight and words of the slayer. Inosuke began running to the pleading slayer. I'll take on the job. Wait, don't kill him, Tanjiro yelled at the screen. What? Why don't you want Inosuke to kill the slayer? He's clearly in a lot of pain, Iguro asked. There has to be a way to save him, I'm sure of it, Tanjiro said. Tanjiro, you can't save everyone, Urokodaki said. I know, Tanjiro whispered. Wait, Tanjiro yelled, blocking Ozaki's attack. Inosuke, we gotta find a way to save him. Oh, shut up, Inosuke yelled, dodging the attacks. You need to stop your bellyaching. Listen to me. He's asking us to put him out of his misery, all right? Inosuke reasoned, while still fighting. Well, yeah, but still, Tanjiro sighed. Inosuke backflipped to be closer to Tanjiro. These guys are speedy too, Inosuke commented. If we get caught napping, we'll be done for. I know that. Just give me a moment to think, Tanjiro yelled. There's no time to think, Tantero, Inosuke yelled. We're busy trying not to die. I don't want to attack them, but cutting the strings won't have a lasting effect. How can we stop them from moving? Tanjiro wondered. Just then a light bulb went off. I got it. Ooh, you have a plan, Tanjiro-kun, Kenroji said. I think so, Tanjiro said, though I'm not totally sure. Tanjiro began running away from Inosuke. Wait, where are you going? Inosuke yelled. Hey, Inosuke shouted. Ozaki looked confused at Tanjiro. Her controlled body began following him. Tanjiro ran at a moderate pace, making sure that Ozaki was following him. Good, she's following me, Tanjiro thought. Do you know what your plan is? Because I'm really confused, Aoi asked. If it's what I think it is, then yes, Tanjiro smiled. The hell? Why are you running around in circles like that? Quit messing around, Inosuke yelled. Tanjiro stopped running and faced Ozaki. He then ran towards her and grabbed her. Total concentration, Tanjiro thought. He threw Ozaki into the air. How flashy, using the forest to stop the slayers, Yusui said. Inosuke's face lit up under the mask. I want to do that too. So strong? Akazi thought. Ozaki flew over a branch, the threads getting tangled. She stayed on the branch in relief. See, Inosuke, there is a way to save them, Tanjiro said. Are you trying to one-up me? Inosuke yelled. What? Tanjiro asked. Great, looks like it worked out, Tanjiro said in relief. Inosuke looked in awe and shouted, What the hell was that just now? I want to do it too. If you copy me, make sure you don't injure the slayers any more than they already are, Tanjiro said firmly. Yeah, Inosuke huffed. Inosuke threw his swords and yelled at the slayer to come at him. He laughed as the slayer chased him. Inosuke didn't even care that the slayer was trying to kill him. Once the timing was right, Inosuke repeated Tanjiro's action. See that? I can do anything you can, Inosuke boasted. Good job, Inosuke, Tanjiro praised. I'm glad that you made a plan so quickly, Tanjiro, Yubayashiki said. Inosuke cheered at his achievement. You see that? Whatever you can do, I can do just as well. Sorry, I must have missed it, Tanjiro said, fighting with another slayer. Huh? Why weren't you looking at me as I proved I could do it too? Inosuke yelled. You really are a moron. Tanjiro's clearly busy trying not to die, Zenitsu yelled at Inosuke. Zenitsu, it's all right, Tanjiro sighed. You're kidding, Inosuke yelled angrily. I'm a little busy at the moment, Tanjiro replied, annoyed. Dumbass, that boarhead stupid, Muzan thought. The mother spider's fingers began to tremble. Her breathing was shaky and full of fear. It's so weird seeing a demon showing that much emotion, Hinetsuru commented. Agreed, Kocho said. Damn, they're all such useless puppets, she said. I have no choice but to unleash that one, then. That one, Nishika repeated. I assume it's a demon that she's controlling. Wait, a demon? Why would a demon allow her to control them? Tanjiro asked. That's a good question, Kacho said. A puppet was shown, several threads were attached, and only the lower half was shown. It cut to the full moon, and Zenitsu screaming. Nezuko, Nezuko, where are you? He yelled. He sat down and began crying. Nezuko, Tanjiro, Chuntaro, even the wild boar. Where did you all go? I'm sorry for everything, okay? He's back to being a crybaby. How annoying, Akaza thought. I'm sorry that we left you behind, Zenitsu, Tanjiro apologized. Just don't do it in the future. All right, Zenitsu said. Zenitsu continued to cry as he sat against a tree. His crying was interrupted by Chuntaro's chirps. He looked up. Chuntaro? My future self has been saved from his loneliness, Zenitsu said. He does realize that Chuntaro is a sparrow, right? Genya thought. Chuntaro? Chuntaro chirped again, looking angry this time. This was disregarded by Zenitsu, who began hugging the sparrow. Your sparrow looks angry, Aoi said. What? Why would Chuntaro be mad at me? Zenitsu asked. You decided to come and check in on me. You're so wonderful and adorable, Chuntaro. Not as adorable as Nezuko, but you're a close second. I really appreciate this, Zenitsu cried happily. I'm sorry for everything. How about we start fresh and go look for Nezuko together? I wish you weren't obsessed with my sister, Tanjiro sighed. Well, it's not my fault. You're just gonna need to deal with it because you ruined my marriage, Zenitsu muttered annoyingly. He's still mad about that, Shinjiro thought. It went back to the others. Inosuke was still laughing that he was able to copy Tanjiro. Check that out. I've tossed up more of them than you have now, Inosuke bragged. I wish you weren't bragging about that. But good job, I suppose, Tanjiro sighed. He's so competitive, almost like if he's not on top the world's going to end, Kocho thought. That's good, just one more, Tanjiro said. Inosuke started walking up to the puppet. All right, I'm going to do it one more time, so watch. You better watch this time, Inosuke said. I'm sure I will, Tanjiro sighed. All right, fine, I'll watch. Tanjiro's tone was annoyed and firm. Just try not to hurt him. These puppets are weak. I don't need them anymore. They're useless, she screamed. What does she mean by that? Takedo asked. I think I have an idea, Tanjiro said. His voice was full of worry. She pulled the threads, and the puppet's head turned around, killing whatever was left of it. Tanjiro gasped in horror as the rest of the hanging puppets died. All of their heads were turned around, killing them instantly. Oh my goodness, Kenroji screamed. That's awful. I knew demons were awful, but holy crap, Shinjiro exclaimed. Several of the demons looked pleased as the mother spider killed the slayers. Hanjima began praying for the dead people. Tanjiro looked at the floor. Zenitsu rested his hand on Tanjiro's shoulder. Hey, Tanjiro. Are you all right? Zenitsu asked. She killed them, Tanjiro said. His voice was quiet. I'm going to make sure I decapitate her so she doesn't hurt another soul. Damn it to hell. That thing went and killed all of them, Inosuke said. Tanjiro walked up to one of the corpses. He knelt down in front of him. The background behind Tanjiro turned red. Inosuke began to shake as he felt the rage emanating from Tanjiro. A few of the newer slayers felt a shiver go down their spine. What the hell? Why are you so scary? Genya asked. I can feel his bloodlust. It's so scary, Hantingu thought, cowering. Tanjiro stood up and coldly said, Let's go. No arguments here, Inosuke said. The two of them began running through the forest again. It's this way. We'll reach them before you know it, Inosuke said. Now that the winds changed direction, my sense of smell is returning, Tanjiro thought, still frowning. Then I'll know exactly where it is. There I'm picking up 2 more scents. I presume the 2 scents are the female demon and the demon she's controlling, Iguro said. I assume so, Tanjiro said. Inosuke, Tanjiro yelled. I detected that thing before you did, Inosuke bragged. I'm gonna hack its head right off its shoulders. You too got this. I believe in you both, Yubayashiki smiled. Thank you, Tanjiro said. Inosuke held his swords tightly as he jumped into the air. He growled as he began to fall towards the demon. However, what neither of them expected was a demon with no head. What? Where the hell is the demon's head? Shinazugawa yelled. That doesn't make any sense, Inosuke shouted. Actually, it makes perfect sense. If the demon had a head, it might try to fight back. Plus, I'm sure that if we do a kesajiri, we'll be able to kill it, Tanjiro said. Ha, Inosuke said. His swords clashed into the blades the headless demon had. Inosuke jumped back, standing next to Tanjiro. I'm glad you didn't get cut, Inosuke, Aoi said. Mother better kill the 2 of them. Or I'm going to tell father about her failures. If that doesn't work, I suppose I'll just have to leave her out in the sunlight, Rui thought. That thing doesn't even have a head, Inosuke commented. Meanwhile, Zenitsu was still walking through the forests, calling out his friends' names. Shuntaro was still on Zenitsu's head. Nezuko, where are you? Zenitsu yelled. I doubt you're going to find us, Manitsu, Inosuke laughed. I'm not sure I want to find you, Zenitsu admitted. I don't want to fight a headless demon. Shuntaro chirped as if he was calling out for them too. Zenitsu began breathing heavily. He rested his hands on his knees for a moment. Where the heck are you, Tanjiro? You too, Inosuke. Don't just leave me here all by myself in this terrifying forest, Zenitsu whimpered. Just then something in the bushes rustles, causing the birds to squawk and fly away. Zenitsu screamed loudly at the noises. Ah, what was that noise? Zenitsu screamed. Probably spiders, seeing as how the mountain is covered in them, Iguro scoffed. I'm not sure about that. I have a feeling it's more than just a spider, Yubayashiki said. What was that? Zenitsu asked. You know what? This is starting to make me really mad. I'm gonna find Nezuko, then say goodbye to this creepy forest. Agatsuma-san, you need to complete your mission, Rengoku said. I agree, it's unflashy to let the demons escape, Yusui said. I know that, Zenitsu muttered. Zenitsu started to walk away from where he heard the creepy noise, screaming Nezuko's name as he walked. Out of nowhere something crawled into view. It looked like a deformed giant spider. Ah, what the fuck is that? Zenitsu screamed. Language, Heimjima sighed. Though I agree, what is that? Spiders aren't naturally that big. I bet it's another demon, Shinazugawa scoffed. It went back to the headless demon, it brought its blade down. Tanjiro and Inosuke jumped out of the way just in time. Once the blade hit the ground it broke the dirt. What a strong attack, Tameo commented. Tanjiro's eyes widened. I'm glad we moved out of the way. That attack is way more powerful than I thought it'd be. This thing's got no weak spots. Where am I supposed to cut it? Inosuke yelled. Inosuke, Tanjiro said. What do we do? What do we do? Inosuke asked, beginning to freak out. Wow, I didn't think you had the ability to freak out, Zenitsu said. You need to calm down, Yushiro said. If you freak out, you're going to make mistakes, and mistakes lead to death. Calm down. Listen closely, all right? Slice from the right part of the neck to the left part of its waist, Tanjiro said, holding his blade in front, showing the move. It'll be tough. It's a lot of mass to cover. That said. Before he could finish his speech, Inosuke ran towards the demon laughing. Tanjiro looked very confused, but quickly gathered his thoughts. Inosuke, no, I haven't even fully told you the plan yet, Tanjiro yelled. I'll be fine. I don't need anyone's plan to kill a demon, Inosuke yelled. He's so stupid. He's overestimating his abilities, Iguro thought. No, wait, don't go alone, Tanjiro yelled. The demon raised its weapon. Inosuke noted its speed. Inosuke moved his head just as the weapon sliced. However, he got some small cuts on his body. Inosuke, Tanjiro yelled. I'm fine, Tantero, Inosuke said. I can still dodge. I can still dodge it though, Inosuke said. Just then, a spider started crawling on Inosuke's arm. It tried to attach him to the mother spider's control. Watch out, there's a spider on your arm, Kenroji yelled. Damn spider demon, Inosuke said. That's right, the spiders, Inosuke said. However, Inosuke wasn't fast enough. He got tangled in the spider's threads. The headless demon prepared to attack the defenseless Inosuke. Inosuke, the demon's going to kill you, Tanjiro yelled. Inosuke froze in fear, not hearing a word Tanjiro was saying. This is it. I'm dead. I can't move, Inosuke said. I'm a dead man. Luckily, Tanjiro jumped in at the right time. He blocked the demon's weapon. The demon jumped back. After that, Tanjiro cut the threads that were attached to Inosuke. The little bubbles went around Inosuke again. He was happy that Tanjiro saved him. Tanjiro felt a wave of relief come over when he saw himself protecting Inosuke. Oh, thank goodness. I'm so glad I blocked the demon's attack, Tanjiro sighed. How flashy. You stepped in at the last seconds and protected your friend, Yusui cheered. How boring. I thought he was really gonna die, Dauma thought. Inosuke, this is a tough one, but we can do it. If we put our heads together, we'll be able to win, Tanjiro said. Damn you, don't go making me feel giddier than I already do, Inosuke shouted. The demon pulled its arm back, preparing for another attack. This thing's in my way, Inosuke shouted. Well, maybe if you just followed Tanjiro's plan, the demon would have already been dead, Zenitsu thought. Tanjiro crouched down. Here, launch yourself. I hope this is going to be flashy. None of these demons have had a flashy death yet, Yusui said. Shut up. Nobody cares about your obsession with flashiness, Zenitsu muttered. Inosuke stepped on the box Nezuko was in and launched himself off of it. Once the demon's arms were apart again, Inosuke cut them off. Blood dripped out of the thread-covered arms. Hell yeah, kill that damn demon, Shinazugawa cheered. Hantingu cowered at the sight of the blood. How pitiful. I can't believe that demon is getting killed by children. Now jump. Go for it, Tanjiro yelled. Inosuke jumped high, preparing to strike. Tanjiro's head was touching the ground as Inosuke jumped. Meanwhile, Tanjiro, who was on the ground, was preparing to attack too. Total concentration. Water breathing. Fourth form. Striking tide. He cut off the demon's legs as the water followed his sword. The demon fell to its knees. Tanjiro sat up a bit. "We're doing it, Inosuke," Tanjiro smiled. "You're pretty weird, Kentaro," Inosuke said seemingly out of nowhere. "What do you mean by that?" Tanjiro asked frantically. "Your turn, Inosuke," he shouted. It seems like he's got everything figured out. I gotta say that's pretty irritating. It's almost like he can predict the future. It's as natural as water, flowing from a river. It's not about going first for this kid. It's all about the battle itself, and watching it flow like a raging current, Inosuke thought. "What an astute observation, Inosuke," Yubayashiki said. "I wish I could predict the future. That would be really helpful," Tanjiro smiled. "Now that I think about it, my foresight didn't warn me about this. How strange," Yubayashiki thought. Inosuke changed the grip on his swords as he began to fall. Once he reached the demon, the screen went black with only a glowing white line on it. It went back to normal, showing that Inosuke slashed when Tanjiro told him to. The mother spider gasped as she realized her puppet was disintegrating. The body crumbled away in front of the two slayers. "You did it," Kenroji said happily. "Good job. That was flashy enough, I suppose," Yuzui said. "Great, he cut it perfectly," Tanjiro thought, with a huge grin on his face. "All right, Inosuke, you defeated it." "I'm proud of you too," Yubayashiki said. "Your teamwork was wonderful." "Ah, thank you. That means a lot," Tanjiro smiled. "Why is Okataka-sama praising that boy? All he did was defeat an unranked demon," Takedo wondered. Inosuke remained in the position he was in when he landed. Tanjiro quickly noticed the weirdness. Is there something wrong with Inosuke?" Tanjiro said. "He's never stood still for that long. Maybe he's broken," Zenitsu suggested. "I'm not broken, you idiot," Inosuke yelled. What's wrong?" Inosuke got up quickly and dropped his swords. He ran up to Tanjiro preparing to do something. "Inosuke, what are you doing?" Tanjiro asked, frantically. "You're not the only one who can launch someone," Inosuke said proudly. "Huh," Tanjiro said, trying to figure out what Inosuke was talking about. "Huh," Tanjiro said in confusion. "I'll prove to that idiot that anything he can do I can do too," Inosuke thought. Inosuke grabbed Tanjiro and threw him into the air. Tanjiro gasped and began smelling the air. "This scent? So that's why you did that, Inosuke," Tanjiro said. "How convenient," Shinjiro scoffed. "The demon scent. I'm picking it up. That's great," Tanjiro said. "Thank you, Inosuke." "Huh," Inosuke said. In all honesty, he had no idea what he had done. "No, that doll was my fastest and strongest." Mother Spider thought. Her hands were trembling. And they still won. "No, it was Rui's fault for coming at me with his threats. That's why I panicked. It's not my fault. She's blaming me. How dare she? It's her fault. It's her fault she couldn't fit into her role," Rui thought. "Is there a chance that this demon is a member of the 12 Kazuki?" Heimjima wondered. Just then the mother spider got kicked out of her thoughts as she heard something flying through the wind. She gasped as she looked up. Tanjiro was falling down from the sky. His silhouette was black in front of the full moon. "No, this can't be happening. Mother's going to be killed by a child," Rui thought. "Whoa, that looks so flashy," Yuzui commented. "Good, I'm going to kill her," Tanjiro thought. He was still angry at her. "F from above," she thought. Tanjiro began falling. Water breathing. First form. "He's going to cut my head off. Oh, what do I do? What do I do?" She wondered. She was having another panic attack. "Although, if I die, I'll be freed. I'll find peace." Tanjiro's expression changed from anger to confusion. "What does she mean by that?" Tanjiro asked. I think she's going to let you kill her," Urokodaki said in disbelief. "Bullshit," Shinazugawa yelled. "She's just trying to trick him." She dropped the threads and lifted her arms up. She closed her eyes, and sweat dropped down her cheeks. Tanjiro noticed her behavior and gasped. He altered his grasp on his sword. "No way," Iguro said in disbelief. "She's actually giving up." "How pitiful. She's giving up her own life," Dalma thought. "They're all so useless. She didn't even try to fight him," Muzan thought. "You're altering your grip. What form are you switching to?" Iguro asked. "Fifth form, blessed rain after the drought," Tanjiro thought. From the angle, it showed it didn't even look like she was killed. A trail of water followed Tanjiro as he delicately landed. It looked like light came and shined on her face. The mother gasped at the kindness. Her head began falling slowly, and her eyes began to sparkle. "Wait, did you decapitate the demon?" Aoi asked. "Yeah, it's just the angle," Tanjiro said. "Her decapitation is so pretty," Senjuro said. "I don't think I've seen a demon killed so beautifully. This feeling, it's like I'm being showered by a gentle rain." It showed her head, slowly falling down. "It doesn't hurt. Not at all. I just feel warm," she thought. "You had mercy on the demon?" "Why?" Shinazugawa asked. "Just a few moments ago you were furious at the demon, so why did you give it a peaceful death?" She looked sad, and I saw no reason to make her death more painful when she was already giving in, Tanjiro said. "This kid is so odd. He can go from wanting to brutally murder a demon to giving them a peaceful death," Yushiro thought. She closed her eyes and smiled softly, accepting her gentle death. Her body began disappearing as she continued to think. Her hair began falling to the ground as well. "I never dreamed my end would be this tranquil," she thought, "and now I'll be released." "I do wonder why she's talking like that. She's talking like she's being held captive," Kacho analyzed. "What is this Hashira talking about? Mother isn't being held captive, she's a part of my family," Rui thought, trying to convince himself. It showed the gentle rain that came from the light source. The screen began to go white. A memory from the mother spider began to play. It was dark out and a loud scream was heard, as blood splattered on the ground. "Whose blood is that?" Suma asked. "It sounds like the female demon screaming, so I assume that's her blood as well," Kacho said. The mother spider was holding her face. Blood was dripping down her arm and face. She looked up, horrified as her fake husband stood above her. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you so angry," she sobbed. "Tell me, what was it that infuriated you?" "She was abused by another demon," Tanjiro said sadly. "That doesn't excuse her actions," Kacho said firmly. The father spider stood in front of the mother spider and said nothing. Meanwhile, Rui was standing on a few threads. "It's your own fault for not realizing what made him so angry," Rui said. "This damn demon kid, he's trying to manipulate her," Shinazugawa thought angrily. "How awful," Kinroji said. "But how could I?" she asked sadly. A laughter interrupted her. "Looks like mother's in trouble with father again." Again with the family titles. "This is getting concerning," Kacho said. "It's a dysfunctional family of demons. What a shame," Haimjima thought. A head was peeking from behind the tree. It was the brother demon. His appearance matched the others, and he continued to laugh at his fake mother's misfortune. His mother looked horrified at his laughter, and just then the father spider pulled her hair, and she screamed. Kenroji looked away, feeling terrible for the mother spider. Many of the demons didn't care about the mother spider's misfortune, aside from Akaza, who was looking quite angry at the sight. "Her screams sound so painful," Zenitsu whispered. "No, stop, no more," she begged, tears in her eyes. As this happened, it panned up to the final demon. She looked like the mother demon, her hair in the same style. She looked sad as her father beat her fake mother. That demon looks sad. I wonder if she's being hurt too, Kenroji wondered. Once the memory was finished, it went back to the present. It was zoomed in on her eye, and she looked over at Tanjiro. Tanjiro's expression seemed sad, yet kind. Her head was crumbling as she continued to think. Those eyes. Such kind eyes. She thought it zoomed into Tanjiro's eye. When I was human, I think there was someone who used to look at me with those same kind eyes. Those eyes. They look familiar. I wonder why. Takedo wondered. The screen went black, only being lit up by what looked like snow and a person. They had black hair that was tied in a ponytail, and they had a crimson haori over a white kimono. "Hey, Tomioka-sen, that person kinda looks like you," Kocho said. "Okay," he responded. "I wonder who that was." The front of the person was shown, her hair was covering her face, and she wore a kind smile. "I can't remember. I just know that it was someone who always cherished me," she thought. Blood dripped down the person's arm. "I wonder how that person is doing now." "She probably killed them," Shinazugawa scoffed. "Probably," Aguro agreed. "May they rest in peace," Haimjima sighed. Her head was finally on the ground. Tears began to fall from her eyes. She shut her eyes and smiled. "Someone from the 12 Kazuki is here," she said. "What? There's someone from the 12 Kazuki," Yushiro said. "This is surprising," Tameo said. "Do you think it's an upper or lower moon?" Kocho asked. "I pray that it's a lower moon so Kamado-kun can stay alive after this mission," Hajime said. Tanjiro gasped at this news. He ran up to her. "Huh, wait," he said frantically. "Be careful," the mother spider thought. "She was just hurting," Tanjiro sympathized. "I hope that she finds peace in the afterlife." That was her last thought. She completely crumbled by the time Tanjiro had gotten over to her. Tanjiro reached for her disappearing body, to no avail. The demon's clothes were still on the rock. They all sat in silence as the mother spider continued to crumble. "A member of the 12 Kazuki. They're here, on this mountain, just within my grasp," Tanjiro thought. "I can't believe that there's a member of the 12 Kazuki there," Tanjiro sighed. "This isn't good," Kocho said. A shot of the moon was shown. Tanjiro looked at it. Seriousness was showing. The screen then went to black. "All right, let's continue," Shiro said, giving them no chance to rest. Episode 17, you must master a single thing. It started with showing the full moon. Tanjiro was thinking about the 12 Kazuki. The 12 Kazuki should possess a high amount of Kibutsuji's blood. If I can extract it, the medicine that'll help Nezuko will be finished sooner, Tanjiro thought, and turned around. "That may be true, but I do still want you to be safe," Tameo sighed. "I'll do my best, Lady Tamao," Tanjiro promises. "Ah, Inosuke's still back there," Tanjiro said. He began running back to where Inosuke was. When he got there, he saw Inosuke. Inosuke's arms were bloody. "Your arms are still bleeding," Tanjiro commented. "I'm fine, Kentaro," Inosuke huffed. "So did you take out that monster?" Inosuke asked. "Hey, are you okay?" "You're bleeding," Tanjiro said, concerned. "I asked you if you defeated that thing or not," Inosuke said. "Don't ignore my questions, Manjiro," Inosuke yelled. "Sorry, Inosuke," Tanjiro sighed. Yeah, I did," Tanjiro said, "but enough about that. Your wounds." Inosuke pointed at Tanjiro. "Don't go showering me with your mushy sensitivity and kindness. I don't need that, got that?" "But everyone deserves at least a little bit of kindness," Tanjiro sighed. "I agree, everyone deserves kindness," Kenroji smiles. "Everyone except demons," Rengoku added. Inosuke put his hand on his chest as he continued talking. "After all, anything you can do, I can do too. Before you know it, my head will be even harder than yours. Not to mention that, not to mention. "What's up with Inosuke?" Zenitsu asked. "I think his injuries are catching up to him," Kacho sighed. "He's not doing well, and I couldn't save our other friends either." Tanjiro noticed Inosuke's shaking and odd behavior. He looked at the ground and thought of the demon woman. That woman gave off a scent of terror and suffering, enough to make her yearn for death. "Ah, don't remind me. That's so sad," Kenroji said, sadly. Iguro wrapped his arm around Kenroji gently. "It's all right, Kenroji-san." "You, lovebirds," Nakaim thought. Tanjiro thought about the demon lady, how she accepted her death with open arms. Tanjiro then began wrapping cloth around Inosuke's wounds. Inosuke was not thrilled that Tanjiro was showing him kindness. "What is it about this mountain anyway? A demon family living here," Tanjiro thought. "I wonder if they were a family before turning into demon," Hinetsuru asked. "That's a good question," Kacho smiled. She looked at Rui. "Well, Rui?" "It's none of your concern," Rui said coldly. "Stay still, Inosuke," Tanjiro said, still trying to bandage his wounds. "As well as one of the 12 Kazuki," Tanjiro thought. But which one of them is a member of the 12 Kazuki? Tanjiro wondered. It's really obvious that Rui is the member of the 12 Kazuki. The real question is what rank he is, Tomioka thought. "Hey, cut it out. I'm totally fine, all right," Inosuke huffed. "What are you talking about, Inosuke? You're clearly not all right," Tanjiro frowned. "It's just a couple scratches, I'm fine," Inosuke sighed. "I didn't think demons gathered together like that." Tanjiro continued thinking. The full moon was shown as the screen went to Zenitsu. "Oh, we're going back to me," Zenitsu sighed. "Not to be rude, Shira-san, but why are we watching Agatsuma-kun? At the beginning you said we'd be watching Kamado-san, But we've been switching people, Kocho asked. Well, don't you want to see Agatsuma and make sure he doesn't die? Plus, that's just what we're showing. No point in questioning it, Shira responded through the intercom. I suppose you're right, Kocho responded. Ouch! Oh, Zenitsu yelled. Something just pricked me. What the hell? I'm so frustrated, Zenitsu thought. He looked at his hand. That can't be good, Hajime said. Wah! What do you mean? Zenitsu asked frantically. Well, you might have been pricked by a spider. If that's the case, they're likely poisoned, Kacho said. I got bit by a poisonous spider, Zenitsu screamed. He's so loud. My guess is that brother's spiders bit him. In that case, he's in for a treat, Rui thought, smirking. I can't find Tanjiro or Inosuke anywhere, Zenitsu huffed as he continued walking. Where did they go? Zenitsu was presented with two different paths. Great, now what? Something really stinks around here too. Gross, Zenitsu yelled. He covered his nose, and the little spiders crawled around his feet. I think I'm gonna cry. And the sound of these spiders running around is so creepy. I'm sure they're just doing their best to survive, the same as me, but still. Ah, all the little spiders are crawling around my feet. I'm gonna die, Zenitsu screamed. You're so loud, Shinosugawa muttered. Just then a rustling sound was heard behind Zenitsu. It sent chills down his spine. Zenitsu turned around and began yelling, Be quiet! Stop moving around! Zenitsu looked at the ground. A spider with a human head was following him. Zenitsu paused for a moment, making sure he wasn't seeing things. It zoomed into the spider head thing. Its skin was a pale blue, and its eyes were wide. Okay, what the fuck is that? Zenitsu screamed. Language, Hajime sighed. I agree with Scaredy Cat. What the hell is that? It's so ugly, Shinosugawa yelled. I've never read about a spider that has a human head, Aoi said. That spider thing is so ugly, Daki thought. What am I even looking at? Zenitsu screamed loudly. The screen went black and showed the title on top of a black and yellow background. It went back to Zenitsu screaming and running quickly through the forest. Why did that spider have a face on it? Zenitsu asked loudly. What is happening right now? What is happening? Please be a dream. Please be a dream. Please be a dream. Please be a dream. I could make it a dream for you, Enmu offered. Ah, don't talk to me, you creepy demon, Zenitsu screamed. If I wake up right now, I promise to work harder. If I were to wake up in the presence of my precious Nezuko, then I'll do anything. I'll do manual labor, I'll even plow fields. A whole acre, no two, I promise. Let me wake up from this nightmare, Zenitsu screamed. Are you being honest? Tanjiro asked. I'd do anything to wake up from that nightmare, so yes, Tanjiro, I'm being honest, Zenitsu yelled. I don't believe you, Aoi sighed. What? I'll show you. Once I get out of that terrible nightmare, I'll do it, Zenitsu scoffed. Zenitsu, you're not dreaming, Tanjiro sighed. Zenitsu stopped screaming and looked up. His eyes widened in fear. He saw a small house being held up by threads. But it wasn't only a house that was being hung up. Several demon slayers were held too. It zoomed into one of the slayers. Their hair was completely gone, and they groaned as drool left their mouths. Poison was on their face and chest. Oh my goodness, that's awful, Kenroji yelled. Those poor slayers, Amin said. Hajime started praying for the slayers that were hung up. At least brother is doing more than mother, Rui thought. The heck is that? Are those humans who got turned into spiders? Is that house floating? I can't quite make it out, but are those threads? Zenitsu wondered. Fear was plastered on his face. Damn it. He found our house. No matter, he's already been pricked, so he has a half hour before he's a spider, Rui thought. Just my luck. I get to find the floating house, Zenitsu sighed. Then he quickly covered his nose. And it really stinks. Talk about pungent. Tanjiro would hate this for sure. The smell is making my throat hurt. Not just that, but it's irritating my eyes too. I don't want to imagine how awful it smells, Kenroji said. If you're going to have a floating house, at least make it flashy, Yusui scoffed. The image of mold creeped in as Zenitsu thought. The wood in the house began to creak, causing Zenitsu and Chuntaro to scream. Just then a demon began to lower himself from the house. He had a human head and a purple spider body. He had a creepy grin, and he was lowering himself by a thread attached to his body. Ah, that thing is so creepy, Suma screamed. It's so ugly, Daki frowned. Shut up, Rui scowled. I know you didn't just tell me to shut up, brat. I'll have you know I'm upper 6, Daki yelled. It's huge, Zenitsu thought. Look at the size of that thing, it's absolutely gigantic. The demon laughed as it lowered itself. Its body was dark purple and orange. Zenitsu whimpered in fear. I swear, if that demon starts talking to me, I'm going to cry, Zenitsu stated. Don't cry, Tanjiro sighed. You better not start talking to me. I don't want to hear it from you, Zenitsu screamed at the demon. Zenitsu started running away from the demon quickly. The demon laughed at Zenitsu's action. There's no point in running away. You've already lost the battle, the demon laughed. What is that demon talking about? Shinazugawa asked. I don't know, but I don't like it, Yorokodaki sighed. I told you not to talk to me. I don't want to hear it, so stop talking, Zenitsu yelled as he continued to run. Things like you give me the creeps, all right. So you already know how dire the situation is for you, the demon asked. What does he mean by the situation in dire? Zenitsu asked softly. I hope it's nothing, Tanjiro sighed. What are you talking about? Zenitsu asked. He was facing the demon now. Take a look at your hands, the demon said. What's wrong with his hand? Tanjiro asked. I have a feeling it's poison, Kacho sighed. Huh? My hands? Why? Zenitsu asked. The demon laughed at Zenitsu. What's wrong with my hands? Oh, Zenitsu said. His eyes widened as he looked at his hands. Parts of his hand were purple, and his veins seemed more prominent too. There was also a reddish-purple bump on his hand. That's worse than I thought it would be, Kacho said. Am I going to die? Zenitsu asked, his voice hushed. Zenitsu, don't worry, this is the future. We can prevent this, Tanjiro said, trying to smile. Huh, what's this? Zenitsu asked. You're poisoned. A spider bit you, didn't it? The demon asked, already knowing the answer. You're gonna turn into one before long. To turn into a spider, Zenitsu repeated fearfully. Oh, that's not that bad, Kocho sighed in relief. Zenitsu turned around and looked at her. What do you mean by not that bad? The demon literally said that I was going to turn into a spider. Well, if you turn into a spider, there's a cure, but there's no cure for death. So really turning into a spider is the better outcome, Kacho clarified. The demon laughed as fear fell on Zenitsu's face. Zenitsu had sweat and tears falling down his face. In half an hour, you'll be my slave, crawling all over the ground, the demon laughed. He pulled out a clock. Do you understand? Here, I'll use this watch to explain. By the time this long hand goes around once, you'll have become one of the spiders. When the hand arrives here, you'll start to feel tingling and pain in your limbs. When it's here, you'll feel dizzy and nauseous. Here, your body will be painfully starting to shrink, and you'll black out. And by the time you wake up... That sounds awful, Makio stated. And unflashy, Yusui added. The demon just laughed. Zenitsu was whimpering and freaking out. It zoomed into the clock, the sound of the ticking growing louder in Zenitsu's ears. He began to scream loudly. He stopped screaming and looked at the ground when he heard skittering. Several of the people who had turned into spiders began crawling towards him. Ah, there are more of the spider people, Zenitsu screamed. As much as I hate you, I hope you kill those spiders. They're so ugly, Daki whined. For an upper rank, she doesn't seem too strong, Kacho noted. Zenitsu promptly began screaming his head off. Zenitsu bolted, and the demon laughed. Running away, the demon started. Damn it, this demon already told me. And now he just wants to rub it in, Zenitsu groaned. That's a demon for you, Shinazugawa said. Is useless, I know, but you're crazy if you think I'm not going to try to get away, Zenitsu yelled. Zenitsu ran up a tree, and the demon laughed. Really? Up a tree? Iguro asked. Have you seen their pointy legs? They're going to get to you quickly. Shut up, snake guy. I'm trying to think, Zenitsu said. What did you call me? Don't forget I have seniority, Iguro scowled. Iguro-san, it's all right, please don't fight him, Kenroji said. Right, sorry Kenroji-san, Iguro said. What do you think you're doing? He asked. Shut up, just you shut up, Zenitsu yelled. Wow, that's actually kind of bold, Rengoku smiled. I can't believe you're telling a demon to shut up. You should just kill it, Takedo frowned. There's no need to be afraid. Once the transformation has taken effect, you'll lose your humanity, he said. That sounds horrible, Kenroji frowned. I can't imagine getting stripped of my humanity. Well, you don't have to imagine it, because you're strong, Kenroji-san, Iguro praised. Exactly, that's just what I've been dreading about all this. Why can't you get that through your head, huh? Someone like you wouldn't have anyone special in your life, Zenitsu yelled. Yushiro burst out in laughter. Damn, you just shattered his ego. Kenroji chuckled too, quickly covering her mouth. Sorry. The demon growled. Maybe some more poison will help, so we can speed up the process for you. Zenitsu looks horrified at the words of the demon. The demon laughed at Zenitsu's fear. Zenitsu clutched onto the tree trunk harder. No, anything but that, Zenitsu cried. I wonder if you're going to fight while you're asleep again, Tanjiro said. I hope so, I really don't want to die, Zenitsu admitted. No, not that, stay away from me. I don't want to turn into one of those things, Zenitsu sobbed. Just then a voice spoke. Get a hold of yourself. Huh? Whose voice is that? Genya asked. Do they sound familiar to you, Zenitsu? Tanjiro asked. The scenery changed to daytime. There was a boy in a tree and an old man who was yelling at him. Huh? Who's that boy? Kenroji asked. That's me, Zenitsu said softly. Tanjiro looked at Zenitsu. That's you? Did you dye your hair blonde then? Not exactly, Zenitsu smiled. Stop crying and running away. Doing that isn't going to get you anywhere, Kiwajima yelled. Wise advise, wouldn't you agree, father? Rengoku asked. I don't care, Shinjiro scoffed. It zoomed into the boy. He had tears streaming down his face, and his black hair contrasted with his yellow haori. I can't believe that Zenitsu was born with black hair. Well, then again, I suppose it does make more sense, Tanjiro thought. Great, we're getting a flashback for the crybaby, Jayako thought. Come down from there. You hear me, Zenitsu? We're going to continue training, Kiwajima said. If I go through another one of your training regimens, I'm gonna die, Zenitsu screamed. I'm not gonna be able to handle it. Urakadaki chuckled a bit. Ah, Kiwajima-san, he was a good Hashira before he retired. Well, he almost killed me, Zenitsu cried. I doubt that, Shinazugawa scoffed. You're not going to die. Not from this. Come down from there, you fool, Kiwajima demanded. Whoa, does he have a peg leg? Genya asked. He does, but he was still fast enough to chase after me, Zenitsu sighed. Come on, Gramps, Zenitsu pleaded. Gramps? Are you related to him? Urokodaki asked. Not biologically, Zenitsu admitted. I'm glad you have someone, Tanjiro smiled. Address me as master, Kiwajima demanded. I agree with him. He's your trainer, so you should address him as such, Heimjima sighed. I know, Zenitsu whispered, looking at the ground. But I want to call you Gramps 'cause I love you, Zenitsu whined. Kiwajima held his hand over his heart, clearly touched by Zenitsu's words. His cheeks began to blush from awe. It went back even further in Zenitsu's past. A bald man was stepping on Zenitsu while two people watched. Zenitsu, who are those people? Tanjiro asked. Just some girl who wanted my money so she could go off with her boyfriend, Zenitsu chuckled sadly. I'm really sorry that happened, Tanjiro frowned. When the girl I loved made me raise money, so she could run off with another guy, you rescued me from my mountain of debt. Maybe all you wanted was to be able to train a swordsman, Zenitsu yelled. That's kind of him, Aoi said. I agree, that's so nice of him, Kenroji smiled. It went back to the main flashback. Zenitsu was still yelling, but I want to live up to your expectations too. I don't know that I can, though. I feel terrible about the fact that I'm like this, I really do. Just so you know, I've been skipping out on sleep, so that I can train more. But I have absolutely nothing to show for it. Seriously, is there some reason I don't know about? Mastering training doesn't happen overnight. It happens over months and months of training, Rengoku smiled. I know that. I just wish it didn't work like that, Zenitsu sighed. It showed the clouds going together and getting darker. It looked like it could rain. Those look like storm clouds. You should get down, Tanjiro said. Calm yourself, Zenitsu. The potential lies within you, Kiwajima reassured him. I agree with him. There is potential in you, Zenitsu, Tanjiro smiled. You're so kind, Zenitsu smiled back. I've had enough of it all, Zenitsu screamed. Just then, Zenitsu was struck by lightning. The lightning flew from the top of the tree to the ground, shocking Zenitsu. Everyone's eyes widened as they saw Zenitsu get struck by lightning. "You got struck by lightning," Shinazugawa yelled. "How flashy," Yusui said. "How? Are you still alive?" Aoi said. "Zenitsu, are you okay?" Kiwajima yelled. Zenitsu fell from the tree. Only now he had blonde and orange hair. Steam was coming off his body and the tree had no leaves anymore. The bark was charred. "That's how you got your hair color?" Rui asks in disbelief. "Yeah, I don't get it either," Zenitsu admitted. "Getting hit by lightning. How unlucky can you get? That's when my hair color changed. I was thankful just to be alive, but, even so," Zenitsu thought, "it went back to the present. I hate myself more than anyone else. I always try to get my act together, but I always end up running away or cowering in fear. I'm pathetic. I want to change. I want to be a capable individual," Zenitsu thought. He gripped the tree harder. Tanjiro's eyes widened. "Zenitsu, do you really feel like that?" Sometimes," Zenitsu admits. He looked at the floor. "Agatsuma-san, it's good that you want to change. However, you shouldn't beat yourself up just because you don't change overnight," Rengoku smiled. Zenitsu's eyes widened at Rengoku's comment. "I'll try," Zenitsu smiled. "The fact is, I'm doing absolutely everything that I can, but I still have to be turned into some horrific spider creature. That can't be. Say it isn't true," Zenitsu yelled. "What's up with this guy? He's a strange one," the demon thought. No, he's the strange one," Zenitsu screamed. "I believe in you, Zenitsu," Tanjiro smiled. The spiders started climbing up the tree. "No, why can't those creepy things stay on the ground? Why can't I just have a moment to myself?" Zenitsu whined. "If he gives you a moment to yourself, you might make a plan to kill him," Genya said. "But still," Zenitsu whined again. "Oh crap, don't climb up here. Can't you leave me alone up here just for a little bit? This is all too much for me to handle right now," Zenitsu screamed, tears still falling from his eyes. He let go of his head and realized he pulled out chunks of his hair. He made a few confused noises and held his hair-filled hand in front of him. "My hair. It's falling out," Zenitsu said calmly. Just then his brain loaded. "Oh my god, my hair is falling out. I'm going to be bald, and then not even Nezuko-chan will want me." "What?" Tanjiro asked. "My hair's falling out already. Wait, my hair? Hey, he never mentioned that part to me," Zenitsu thought. Zenitsu looked at the demon who had red eyes in his imagination. The demon chuckled. Just then, Zenitsu passed out. His soul left his mouth. His body was draped over the branch he was laying on. "You passed out," Hinetsuru commented. "Wait, that means you can fight." "Zenitsu," Tanjiro smiles. "Maybe I won't die," Zenitsu smiles back. "Huh," the demon muttered. "I don't understand this guy at all. Isn't he a demon slayer who came here to kill our family? But he fainted. How spineless can you get?" The brother demon wondered. He's in for a treat now that Zenitsu can protect himself, Tanjiro thought happily. "I believe in you, Zenitsu," Yubayashiki smiled. Some of the spiders crawled up onto the tree, knocking Zenitsu off the branch. "He's going to fall on his head and die." "What the hell?" the brother demon wondered. Zenitsu continued falling towards the ground. Just then he exhaled sharply. Air exited his mouth. He grabbed his sword. "Ah, hell yeah, we're going to see this spineless kid kick some ass," Yusui yelled. "Please watch your language, Tenjin," Yubayashiki said. "Apologies, Oyakata-sama," Yusui said. "I'm so excited. The other fights have been really cool too," Kenroji squealed. "Thunder breathing technique. First form," Zenitsu said. He pushed his feet against the tree, jumping at the demon. Before he could reach, the demon spat a purple poison at Zenitsu. "You stopped your fall. Good job, Zenitsu," Tanjiro smiled. Poison sputum, the brother spider thought. Zenitsu rolled midair, dodging the poison. Instead of Zenitsu, the poison landed on a tree trunk. A hissing sound came out as the poison eroded the trunk. Zenitsu landed below the demon. "Did you just twist your body midair while asleep?" Genya asked in shock. "That's so flashy," Yusui said. "At this rate, brother is going to lose," Rui thought. "Did he just twist his body in midair? With such quick reflexes? I hardly recognize him, the demon noted. I'm actually doing it. The first time wasn't a fluke, Zenitsu muttered. I'm sure that with enough practice you can act like this when you're awake too, Tanjiro said happily. Zenitsu went back in the position so he could use thunder breathing. Thunder breathing, first form, Zenitsu said. You're using the first form again, Amane said. I guess so, Zenitsu said. He didn't want to admit that that was the only form he knew. Hey you guys, take him down, Brother Spider demanded. Several spiders tried to jump on Zenitsu. However, he dodged them, moving back to his position. Wait, you're back in the same position. Shinazugawa noticed. That's odd, Kacho said. Is that the only form you know how to do? Enmu asked, sinisterly. Zenitsu stared at the ground again, ashamed of himself. That's fine. As long as you know how to use the form to its full potential, then it doesn't matter how many forms you know, Tanjiro smiled as he touched Zenitsu's shoulder. You're right, Zenitsu said softly, looking back at the screen. Thunder breathing. First form, Zenitsu repeated. The brother spider spewed poison at Zenitsu. He quickly moved out of the way, dodging the lethal poison. You dodged it again, Zenitsu. I want to do that too, Inosuke yelled. Inosuke, you do realize that one wrong move and you'd end up like the tree from before, right? Tanjiro asked. Zenitsu thinks he's better than us all. Kentaro, I have to beat him, Inosuke yelled. He's been going into that same stance over and over. The demon grinned and chucked in thought. Ah, I know why he's doing that. He must only be capable of that one attack. Zenitsu began thinking of the words his master told him. Don't worry about it, Zenitsu. That's good enough progress, Kiwajima said. Your trainer seems like a kind person, Tanjiro smiled. He is, Zenitsu smiled back. I wonder why he isn't here right now, Yorokodaki said. Maybe we should ask the twins who brought us here, Kacho suggested. No comment, Shiro said through the intercom. It transitioned to another flashback. It was dusk. Zenitsu's Haori was covered in dust. His master was standing above him. Mastering even one is cause for celebration, Kiwajima smiled. He patted Zenitsu's head. If you can only do one thing, hone it to perfection. Work on refining it to its utmost potential. I agree, thunder breathing is one of the hardest to master. So mastering even one form is cause for celebration, Yubayashiki smiled. I agree, Tanjiro smiled. Thank you, you both sound like Gramps, Zenitsu chuckled softly. Zenitsu's face looked sad. It rotated clockwise, transitioning into the sleeping Zenitsu of the present. But Gramps, just a little while ago, you were really angry because thunder breathing has 6 forms, and all I can manage to do is 1. Zenitsu thought sadly. It went back into the flashback. Kiwajima was softly hitting Zenitsu's head. Zenitsu was sulking. Do you know what the process of forging a sword is? Kiwajima asked, still hitting Zenitsu's head. Why is he hitting you? Tanjiro asked. If I remember correctly, he was trying to teach me some important lesson, Zenitsu said. I don't know. I wish he'd stop hitting me. I'm gonna cry, Zenitsu thought. When making a sword, you hammer and hammer to get rid of impurities and anything else you don't need. The greater the purity of the blade, the more durable it becomes, Kiwajima said, still hitting Zenitsu. I think he's comparing you to a blade. If I'm correct, that's a good comparison, Rengoku said. Is that why you keep clobbering me day in and day out? Zenitsu wondered. It went back to the present. But I'm not made of steel. I'm living flesh. That may be true, but his words have truth to them, Hanjima said. I suppose, Zenitsu sighed. This is so boring. I want to see him fight, Akaza thought. The brother demon chuckled. You're not much of a threat, are you? And you call yourself a demon slayer. Any moment now and you'll be rendered immobile by that poison. Zenitsu perfect it, Kiwajima said in Zenitsu's mind. It's all right to cry, or go off by yourself. Just don't ever give up. Believe in yourself. That's true too. Crying is an important part of being a human, Yubayashiki said. On that note, it's good to cry and it's good to be brave. One must accept both of these in order to be a powerful demon slayer, Yorokodaki said. Past Zenitsu looked at Kiwajima with tears in his eyes. Kiwajima's words meant too much to Zenitsu. Back with present Zenitsu, it looked like he was glowing. Whoa, are you glowing? Aoi asked. No fair, I want to do that too, Inosuke yelled. I don't think you can, Inosuke. I think these are Shira-kun and Shiro-kun's effect things, Tanjiro said. You endured all that hellish training. You'll be rewarded for that without question. Work to forge yourself like a tempered blade, Kiwajima said. He's right. You've done so much. It'll pay off, Kenroji said. Lighting began to come out of Zenitsu's sword. When it showed his face, his eyes were opened. No iris was in sight though. Well, that's a sight, Yushiro commented. That's kind of freaky, Zenitsu admitted. I agree. I don't like when you look angry like that. It feels so weird, Tanjiro said. And become the most resilient of all, Kiwajima yelled. The brother spider spit poison at Zenitsu. A bunch of light gathered to one spot on the black screen. Ah, hell yeah. We're about to see some awesome fighting, Yusui cheered. What an interesting sight, Kacho commented. Focus on what you do best, Kiwajima said. Zenitsu quickly dodged the poison. Then several spiders started leaping towards him. They formed a wall. Just then a different male voice was heard. Zenitsu, keep dodging that poison, and I'm sure you'll be able to kill the spiders, Tanjiro smiled. Get out of here, the voice said. Whose voice is that? Tanjiro asked. Zenitsu and Haimejima's eyes widened as they heard the voice. Zenitsu got quiet for a moment. That's Kaigaku. He's Gramps' other student, Zenitsu said. Kenroji looked at Haimejima and frowned. Haimejima-san, is everything all right? Agatsuma-san, did you say Kaigaku? Haimejima asked. Yeah? Why, do you know him? Zenitsu asked. He's the one who started the events that made me become a demon slayer, Haimejima said. Really? Shinazugawa said surprised. A child was what made you become a demon slayer. Everyone, let's save backstories for later. Please focus on the screen, Shira said. Zenitsu looked mortified at the words. A boy was eating a peach. He had black hair and a blue choker. Huh, Zenitsu asked. You gonna make me repeat myself? Leave my sight. You know why? The way you cry like a baby all day long. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Kaigaku asked. Well, that's rude of him, Suma said. I agree, there's no harm in showing emotions, Rengoku said. Zenitsu clutched onto his Haori tighter, looking at the ground. Zenitsu looked like he was about to cry. Zenitsu, was he mean to you often? Tanjiro asked. Yeah, but it's fine. It seems like in the future I won't have to deal with him, Zenitsu smiled. TCH, good for nothing. Any amount of time spent on you is an absolute waste of time, Kaigaku said. Our teacher is an extraordinary man. That's harsh. And untrue. If Kiwajima-san thought training you was a waste of time, then he wouldn't be doing it, Yubayashiki said. Yeah, Kacho smiled. If a former Hashira thought training you was pointless, they wouldn't waste their time. But Gramps told me that, Zenitsu countered. Before Zenitsu could finish his sentence, Kaigaku threw a peach at him. It hit Zenitsu's forehead. Zenitsu, are you all right? Tanjiro asked. I'll stab Kaguru, Inosuke said. Who's Kaguru? Zenitsu asked. Obviously the one who threw the peach at you. Who else? Inosuke said. Please don't hurt other people, Inosuke, Tanjiro sighed. Hey you, don't go being all familiar and calling him Gramps. He's a former Hashira. Someone who earned the highest title in the Demon Slayer Corps. Hardly anyone gets the chance to be trained by a former Hashira, Kaigaku yelled. Although it's true that not many people get trained by former Hashiras, this boy has no reason to act so coldly, Kacho frowned. Kaigaku never was a kind boy, Haimejima sighed. The peach fell off of Zenitsu's forehead and landed on the ground. Zenitsu's gaze stayed on the floor as Kaigaku yelled at him. The time he spends training you is all for nothing. It's infuriating to see. I hate even looking at you, so get out. Why are you even here? Why do you insist on clinging on like a patch of mold? Kaigaku screamed. He's so mean. Zenitsu, how can you tolerate him? Tanjiro asked. He might be mean, but I looked up to him, Zenitsu sighed. He looks up to someone like Kaigaku, Rui thought. It showed Zenitsu standing in front of a black screen. I have no parents, no one who has hopes for me. No one with dreams that'll eventually one day, I'll be able to accomplish something important. Not even a thing as simple as proving myself useful to someone, either by protecting them or making them happy. Zenitsu thought. Several images appeared as he spoke. I'm sure you will make me happy in the future, Tanjiro said. You are useful, Agastuma-san, Yubayashiki said. If you don't see it now, I'm sure you'll see it later in life. Zenitsu began tearing up. Thank you, that means a lot to me. Just once in my life. I have no one like that. If you mess up, or cry or run away even once, everyone says, oh, this guy's no good, and they move away. Or so I thought. That's nice. It reminds me of me, Kanao thought. It showed Zenitsu being strangled by Kiwajima. Kiwajima was trying to pull Zenitsu out of the tree. Time and time again Gramps would run me through my paces. I tried running away on numerous occasions, but each time I did, he'd drag me right back. He smacked me around a little too much for my liking, but he never abandoned me. I'm glad that you have your trainer, Aoi said. He's amazing, Zenitsu sighed happily. How many times did you try to run away? Iguro asked. Too many for me to count, Zenitsu admitted. Get him, inject more poison into his veins, Brother Spider screamed. A long tongue that had a needle at the end extended from the spider's mouths. Zenitsu jumped out of the way, dodging their attacks. Blood spewed from Zenitsu's mouth as he fell to the ground. What seemed like hundreds, spiders began crawling towards his body and jumped on him. Covering him completely, the brother spider laughed. They have needles on their tongues, Daki said. Zenitsu, you coughed up blood, Tanjiro yelled. This is it. The spiders are gonna kill me, Zenitsu thought. That's so many spiders, Makio yelled. At least brother is going to kill one of this stupid slayers. I'm glad he's not useless, Rui thought. That should do it, Brother Spider laughed, lowering himself slightly. Just then a blue lighting went around the spiders. A shock wave caused the spiders to be thrown off of Zenitsu. The air began to vibrate. What's happening? There's blue lighting, Zenitsu said. Who cares? It looks so flashy, Yusui yelled. You kicked all the spiders off you, Inosuke said. Huh? What's this? The air is vibrating. Brother Spider wonders. You're making the air vibrate, Sanjuro said surprised. I knew you were crazy strong, Zenitsu, Tanjiro smiled. Rui's demon family is going to be killed. He better not die as well, Muzan thought. The blue electricity is flowing around Zenitsu, as is yellow electricity. Just then Zenitsu opens his eyes. It's completely white. Blood is on Zenitsu's chin, making him look even scarier. Brother Spider falls to the ground. Wah, you look kind of scary, Kenroji said. It feels so weird to see you look so serious, Genya said. Is that really me? Zenitsu thought. Thunder breathing. First form, thunder clap and flash, Zenitsu said. The ground began to break, and the air vibrated. Blue lightning came from the ground. The spider demon seems terrified. Hell yeah, kill that damn demon, Shinazugawa yelled. I can't believe that's me. I can actually protect myself and others, Zenitsu thought. Sixfold, Zenitsu yelled. Sixfold? That's a thing, Aoi asked. Thunder breathing has a lot of subforms, Yubayashiki informed everyone. The light gets even brighter. The spider went back up into the air and began shooting more poison at Zenitsu. Zenitsu moved effortlessly, leaving an after image too. You dodged the poison again. You're gonna kill the demon, Suma smiled. I am? You're right, Zenitsu smiled back. He vanished, Brother Spider said. He's in for a treat, Shinazugawa cackled. Zenitsu began darting from tree to tree, leaving a trail of yellow lightning behind him. It left a crackling sound as well. The Brother Spider tried to move back, but Zenitsu used the small threads to launch himself up to the demon. Zenitsu bounced off trees and went through the house. The Brother Spider looked terrified as Zenitsu cut his head off and went through the top of the house, having a sick moment in front of the full moon. Ah, that was so flamboyant, Yusui yelled. You're a badass. Hell yeah, you killed that damn demon, Shinazugawa yelled. You did it, Zenitsu, Tanjiro smiled. I'm proud of you, Zenitsu, Yubayashiki said. Damn it, brother got killed too. Why is this happening? Rui wondered. Did I get slashed? Me? Can't be, Brother Spider thought. He watched as Zenitsu fell from the sky. To think, by someone like him. Well, you did. Ha, Yusui said. That was a flamboyant death. Zenitsu landed on the top of the house, while the demon's head and body landed on the ground. The Brother Spider was still spiteful. What a shame that he can't find peace in death, Heimjima sighed. Who cares? He's dead now, and that's all that matters, Shinazugawa said. This is ridiculous. I was defeated by someone who could hardly move their limbs, the brother spider yelled as he crumbled. I want to do that, Zenitsu, Inosuke yelled. Let me have this moment to myself, boarhead, Zenitsu yelled back. Please, stop yelling, Tanjiro sighed. The watch remained, and it continued ticking until the glass cracked. Zenitsu was on top of the floating house. He was gagging too. His eyes were fighting to stay open, and blood and poison were on his face. I just want a dream. A happy, peaceful dream. In it, I'm powerful, more powerful than anyone. I'm able to help the weak, anyone in trouble, anytime, Zenitsu thought. He began to think about when his master would help him out. And everything that Gramps taught me, all the time and effort he spent. It wasn't for nothing. In this dream, thanks to Gramps, I became strong and was able to help a lot of people. But the time for dreams is over now. Chuntaro began chirping next to Zenitsu. Zenitsu moved his eyes to look at his sparrow. Is that you, Chuntaro? Zenitsu asked quietly. I'm so sorry. Chuntaro, he came to see me, Zenitsu smiled softly. You aren't going to die, Zenitsu, Tanjiro said, mainly trying to make himself feel better. Chuntaro chirped sadly for a few moments before flying off. Zenitsu closed his eyes softly. Tears fell out. Don't ever give up, Kiwajima's voice said. Gramps is right. I can't give up. I have to think of something, Zenitsu thought. Zenitsu opened his eyes back up slightly. He inhaled sharply. Don't ever give up. Zenitsu thought. I can use the breathing technique to slow down the poison. Even if it's painful, even if it's agonizing, don't try to take the easy way out or Gramps will let you have it. Yeah? And Tanjiro's going to yell at you too. If Agatsuma-san can alter his breathing, he can slow down the poison, Kacho said. It looks like he's already doing that, which is good. I hope he'll be all right, Kenrochi said. Zenitsu imagined his mentor holding his cane, ready to hit him if he took the easy way out. His eyes began to flutter shut. Just then it went back to Tanjiro. Rumbling was heard in the distance. Am I gonna die? Zenitsu asked quietly. No, open your eyes back up, Tanjiro yelled. Shiro-san, does Zenitsu die? I can neither confirm nor deny your question. You're just going to have to watch, Shiro said. Damn it, Tanjiro thought. What was that sound? Tanjiro asked. Did lightning just strike? Damn right it did. Agatsuma-san is being amazing, Yusui yelled. How should I know? Inosuke asked. Well, I'm not smelling any thunderclouds, but that odor got stronger. And it's messing with my senses again, Tanjiro rambled. You can smell thunderclouds, Yushiro said. I can. It was really useful for when I was a charcoal merchant, Tanjiro smiled. Inosuke began jumping over rocks. Inosuke, Tanjiro said. What? I think I'm gonna go take that path instead, Tanjiro said, pointing to where he wanted to go. Huh? Why should I care? Inosuke asked. Well, I think that you'd want to know where I was, Tanjiro smiled. Why are you telling me? Go do whatever you want, Inosuke said. So are you headed back down? Tanjiro asked. Inosuke faced Tanjiro. Back down? Back down the mountain, Tanjiro clarified. Why on earth would I go back down the mountain? Are you underestimating me? Inosuke yelled. Of course not, but you're injured, Tanjiro sighed. Why would I do that? Just beat it, Inosuke yelled. What about all your wounds, though? Tanjiro mentioned. I'm fine, Sentaro, Inosuke yelled. But you're bleeding, Tanjiro frowned. What are you talking about? I'm not hurt at all, Inosuke yelled. Tanjiro looked at Inosuke, confused by his statement. Since Tanjiro could clearly see the blood that was leaving Inosuke's shoulders and hands. Those injuries aren't fatal. He should keep killing demons, Takedo said. What? Tanjiro said in disbelief. What? You've got to be kidding, Inosuke. Anyone from a mile away could see how bloody you are, Tanjiro said. That's true. If there was a demon, they would surely smell the blood, Aoi said. I don't care, Inosuke said. Inosuke didn't care. He put his hands on his hips and looked nonchalant. Tanjiro's speech was interrupted by approaching footsteps. The two of them looked over and saw the sister spider standing on the other side of the small river. What is she doing right there? Kocho asked. She's acting odd. Why isn't she attacking? Rengoku asked. A demon? Tanjiro thought, preparing to fight. The scent that was hanging over this mountain blocked me from picking that up. I hope the fight with her will be easy, Yubayashiki said. Inosuke growled, "Listen up, you damn demon. I'm gonna tear you into shreds." The demon gasped and started running into the forest. It clicked in Aguro's head. "It's a trap." "What? A trap? You really think that, Aguro-san?" Kenroji asked. "Why else would she go out in the open like that?" The two brats were distracted, so she could have snuck up on them. But she didn't, and now she's running to the forest, Aguro said. "That makes sense. You two should be careful," Hajime said. "Get back here," Inosuke yelled, jumping on the rocks to cross the river. "It's a trap?" Then Inosuke running off is just him falling into the trap. Tanjiro thought. "Sister, I wonder what she's planning." Rui wondered. "Hang on," Tanjiro yelled. Sister Spider kept running. Then she turned around and yelled, "Now, father." "Father?" Hinetsuru asked. "Ah, I see what she's doing," Rui thought. "Who are you calling father?" Inosuke yelled, still running after the demon. Inosuke stopped running and looked up. There was a large demon jumping down to where Inosuke was standing. "Damn it," Inosuke said. "Inosuke," Tanjiro screamed. Inosuke jumped out of the way just in time. When the father spider hit the ground, he hit the water, causing it to splash. Inosuke did a flip, landing on a rock that was closer to Tanjiro. Tanjiro prepared to pull his sword out. "Okay, we might be all right. I'm glad you didn't get hit," Tanjiro said. "Is that the member of the 12 Kazuki that you talked about?" Inosuke asked. The demon had white hair, and once it was out of his face, it was clear he had the face of a spider. He had 9 blue eyes and sharp teeth. He roared at the two slayers. Tanjiro and Inosuke whimpered. They could feel the blood lust coming off the demon. "No, it's not. It doesn't have any number etched into its eyes," Tomioka said. "Oh wow, Tomioka-san, you can talk. You haven't talked in such a long time, I forgot you were here," Kocho teased. "What intense bloodlust," Tanjiro whispered. "Don't you come near my family," Father Demon roared as he punched a rock. "Stay away from them." "I swear if Father fails to kill these stupid slayers," Rui thought. "I'm leaving the rest to you, Father," Sister Demon said, going back into the forest. "Damn coward," Shinazugawa yelled. Inosuke flung back, avoiding the second attack that had come his way. Sadly, the father spider was preparing to punch Inosuke again. Time seemed to move slower, so Tanjiro prepared his attack. "Inosuke," Tanjiro yelled. "I'm right here, Manjiro. Don't yell in my ears," Inosuke yelled back. "Water breathing, second form," Tanjiro thought, jumping up. "Water wheel." Tanjiro went to the demon's extended arm. A ring of water was around him. Tanjiro screamed as he tried to cut off the demon's arm. It wasn't working though. The screen faded to black. "Did I cut off its arm?" Tanjiro asked, worried that he didn't. He didn't get an answer though. The screen just lit up once again.